You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the October 21st meeting for the Michigan City Common Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening and welcome to the Michigan City Common Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. I would ask that you will all please silence your electronic devices of any sorts, and please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of prayer.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, on roll call, please.
Mr. Beatrice,
Present.
Mr. Coulter, Mr. Dabney,
Present.
Dr. Cora,
Present.
Miss Lee, present, Miss Moldenauer,
Present.
Mr. Nelson,
Present.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Present.
and Miss Tillman.
Present.
We have 8 present and 1 absent.
Thank you. Next, we have approval of the minutes, regular council hybrid Zoom, September 16, 2025, executive session, October 2nd, 2025, regular council hybrid Zoom, October 7th, 2025. Noted, due to the network disruption with the city computers, the minutes will be forthcoming. May I entertain a motion
You got a motion to approve.
for the approval of the minutes?
No, the executive
Okay.
session is the only
Okay.
thing that was ready.
Could you state that?
The
I got it.
executive session that was held on October 2nd, 2025 is the only one that is being voted on.
I make a
Thank-
motion to approve the minutes of the executive session of October 2nd.
Support.
Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Who was the second? Yeah.
Councilman
Thank
Dabney.
you. Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Miss Lee,
Aye.
Miss Moldenauer,
Abstained.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Aye.
Miss Tillman,
Abstain.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
and Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
We have 6 in favor and 2 abstained.
Thank you. Reports of standing committees. Any reports of standing committees? Are there any reports of standing committees? There are none. Finance Committee meeting. The Michigan City Finance Committee meeting met on October 21st, 2025 at 6 p.m. today. The Michigan City Riverboat Boyd claims docket for October 21st, 2025. Riverboat Fund 2235, $0. Riverboat EFT Fund 2235, $0. Rainy Day Fund 2236, $37,928.70. Boyd Development Fund 2504, $0. These claims are for Reith and Riley Construction Company, Inc., $30,683.70. And for Schneider Geometrics of $7,245, totaling for claims $37,928.70. May I entertain a motion?
Motion to approve claims.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Beatrice and a second by Dr. Cora. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Miss Lee. Aye. Miss Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson.
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Aye.
Miss Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice.
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
and Dr. Cora.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
Also, we have the City of Michigan City 2025 Riverboat Rainy Day Fund Statement of Cash Position, Fund Type 2235, ending balance $5,105,702.49. Fund type 2236, rainy day fund, ending balance $1,112,136.72, bringing a grand total ending balance of $6,217,839.21. That concludes the claims for October 21st. Reports from boards and commissions. We have Keela Ward, Director of Education and Workforce Development, 2025 Annual Report, Michigan City Promise Scholarship.
Good evening, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Keela Ward, Director of Education Workforce Development, and I'm Director of Michigan City Promise Scholarship. And so what I handed out was our annual report. To each and every one I did enclose a letter there that talked about what you would find in this report. Up front, I actually listed the selection committee and their terms right at the top there. And they were all appointees, I'm sorry. So as you go through and look at the breakdowns of years, this is reporting for 24-25, but the years 2021 through 2025 is what I'm reporting on financially. So I will go through each class, 2021, 22, 23, 24. And I know as I look at the council, they're used to seeing these. You see what was spent by graduating class. So that's what that is.
Okay.
Each year, 21 through 24, which I say 24, 25, high school class. And then there's blue boxes. You see, that's a review of our payments for broken up by academic year. So if you look at 21, 22, and so on and so forth, you'll see the amounts by academic year, what was paid out completely, no matter what year they were in college. Underneath that, you'll
Miss,
see.
if you
Yes.
would, could you verbally read those out loud so
Sure.
that the public can be aware?
For the
of those
review of
amounts paid?
2021 through 25 Promise Scholarship payments. Academic year 21 through 2022, $162,947.82. For 2022-23 academic year, $220,742.10. For the 2023-2024 academic year, $181,358.92. And for 2024-2025 academic year, $193,658.61 for a grand total of $758,707.45. Okay. The smaller box underneath is the total for the academic year by the class. And so it gets confusing sometimes breaking out the numbers, but for the class of 2021, what was spent this year, this is smaller. $14,500. For the class of 2022, this year we spent $40,500. The class of 2023, what was spent was $58,000. Wait a minute. $58,000 even. And for 2024, $46,500 was spent for a total of $159,500. the next page is where I did basically the criteria, breaking down, like how many I saw this year and how many were eligible, how many I was able to meet in person. On the letter, I did describe that I was able to go into the schools. I believe I wrote 16 times. I was in the schools about twice a week this year, busy year. And this was the first year that Promise had a software program to basically take in applications. So with that being said, I had already released some paper applications to the guidance staff. So it was half paper apps and half, so it was quite a year dealing with paper and online. So this year we'll go all paperless, hopefully, fingers crossed. For Michigan City High School, the guidance departments at both schools helped me determine who was eligible. Not assessments, they do a questionnaire interview with the seniors, and we determine the eligibility by address, and I go back over that and look at the maps for that. So there were 88 eligible seniors this year at Michigan City. 40 of them I was able to meet in person. So that's making passes, the whole, all the legwork that goes into getting a student to actually come from their classroom and sit down in front of me is not as easy as it sounds. I'm waiting, but they may not come. 45 of those 45 students, so that means more than I saw actually applied, more than I saw in person applied. 45 of those students actually applied for Promise. 29 of those students at Michigan City High School were actually selected for Promise. And then I did take a look at the totals for renters and homeowners as well. Out of that group at Michigan City, there were 20 total renters, and 25 homeowners. For Marquette Catholic High School, there were 23 eligible seniors. They have a much smaller graduating class, so it's easier to see them. I still did go into the school 4 times to make sure everybody had a good understanding, and they allowed me that to make presentations and talk to students. I was able to meet with 20 of those 23 seniors. 5 of those applied for Promise. 1 of those were actually selected for Promise. And I had 0 renters and 5 homeowners. I actually also listed for the life of the program, what has been spent so far to date. So from 2017 to now has been $1,426,129.15. And the back sheets, you all see some budget sheets I printed out to show you, balance sheets, a ledger report, but also the very back sheet is where I ran a report on the balance for the life of the program, what has been spent, not so much the balance, but what has been paid out for the life of the Michigan City Promise Scholarship. That's what's there. Any questions? Oh, I wanted to point out, going back to my letter to the council and to mayor, after those visits this year and being able to go in more and really just talk about the changes with going online to do applications and trying to make that clear, we were able to select 30 new awardees for Promise this year. So I was excited about that. And my numbers were up from last year. So absolutely. Any questions?
Thank you for the nice report, Ms. Ward. A couple of questions I wanted to ask you. When I go down the list here, some students got 5,000, some students got 2,500, some students got 500. Is that what they asked for, or how do you determine that?
What happens is the eligibility of how much they will get in a semester really depends on how many years they went to the schools, how many years they attended either Marquette or Michigan City High School. If they were 4 years at either school and they've met all the qualifications, they would be eligible for the maximum amount, which is $5,000. That's $2,500 per semester. So if you see a payment that is $2,500 only, it's very likely that that student, let me back up and say their responsibility when they register for classes, their responsibility to promise is to actually turn in their bursar bill or their bill for the semester to my office so that I can justify why I'm releasing dollars to that student. And so the $500 payment is because Promise is a secondary tuition only scholarship. And if that student has 21st Century Scholars or another scholarship that is also a tuition and fee only scholarship, those scholarships bump heads. But because Promise is secondary, that scholarship would pay the tuition, but we still would gift the student $500.
Okay. The other question I had was, what's the balance left in this fund, the scholarship fund?
Let me see if I printed that out. I don't think I printed that out.
That's fine. Maybe
That's my oversight because I definitely I can send that to the council.
Yeah, if you
It's an oversight, send a balance sheet to the council.
great. Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Mr. Councilman Beatrice?
Thanks, Keela, for the report. I see that one of the latest changes we've done to this Promise Scholarship was adding rental people who are renting
Yes.
and Marquette students. It hasn't really helped a lot at Marquette because the numbers are really small, but
Mhm.
it has helped those who are applying who are renters.
Definitely.
They almost are the same as homeowners. Out of the 29 that were selected, was that pretty much 50-50 rental and homeowner?
No, they were all, wait a minute.
You had 45 that applied, 29
45.
selected.
Yeah.
Of the 29 selected, was that pretty much
Oh, yes, I see.
50-50?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good.
It has definitely been a benefit for those that are not homeowners.
So we did the right thing by allowing
Yeah.
renters. Great. Thanks.
Councilwoman Lee?
Thank you, Madam President. Keela, thank you for this report and your hard work is clearly paying off. So thank you for all of that. I do have two questions. We have 45 that applied for Michigan City High School and 29 were selected. So what are some of the reasons that those other weren't selected?
Good question. Some of the reasons that the students were not selected is they had incomplete applications, which means a complete application to my office is that they have applied for the scholarship, they have done the actual application, but also done the FAFSA. They have their they have their service hours of 40, and they have a GPA. And so if you don't have those things, that would be considered an incomplete application. And then I remember a couple just flat out missed the deadline. So.
Great, thanks. And then the second question is, you said you're moving fully online for the application, hopefully. Are you putting the volunteer hours online too, or is that still going to be? paper?
Yes. I'm going to make a place for students to be able to upload their hours. And really, I want to keep that open, all summer until maybe September 1st.
Thank you.
Yep.
Councilwoman
Any other
Maldonado?
questions?
Thank you. First, I want to thank you for the completion of the Apprentice Readiness Program. And I do believe that you partnered with the Plan Indiana to make that happen.
Yes.
So thank you so very much because we're really tapping into residents who have been looking for gainful employment, improving their lifestyle, and also getting those higher hourly wage jobs. So thank you very much. Job extremely well done.
Thank you.
And I hope you have plans to continue doing that.
Yes.
And in the same light, I've asked this, I think, every year, is Promise being expanded to include those people that are considering the trades?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Have you had people actually receive Promise scholarship money and enter one of the trades programs?
I have not. I've had that question at the schools. I've had students that are going to Ivy Tech for a 2-year degree in that. And so I welcome that. And I say that when I make my presentations at the schools.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mhm. Thank you.
Are there any other comments from the council? If there are none, thank you, Ms. Ward, for your presentation.
Thank
And
you.
we look forward to your next year's and hopefully that number increases even more. Next, we have reports of special or select committees. Councilwoman Moldenauer.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. I have one announcement that I would like to make, and this is a special workshop that's being coordinated by the City of Michigan City, the Refuge Department, and also the Sustainability Commission. We're going to have a workshop that's going to be entitled Recycle Smart, Do Your Part. And I just want to remind everybody, the reason we're doing this is we're trying to reduce the amount of trash that's going to the landfill. And if we're successful at doing this, we can actually decrease the amount of money that's being paid for that trash being taken and dumped at the landfill. And it's somewhere around $500,000 to $600,000, which is a lot of money if you think about it. So we're really trying to invite everybody to learn about recycling and do recycling. And this is going to be an in-person hands-on experience. Satya G. Burns of the LaPorte County Solid Waste District will be bringing in her huge tote, which has all kinds of things in it. Some can be recycled, some cannot be recycled. And I think it really helps if you can see and put your hands on objects and get a really good idea of what materials are appropriate for recycling. This is happening on Wednesday, November 19th. In the EOC room right across the hall here at City Hall, 5:30 p.m. So please get that in your calendar. Invite your neighbors, your friends, your family to come. The more people we get involved in this, then we're going to see our costs going down as far as dumping fees. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other reports from boards and commissions?
Madam President, Scott Mellon, I'm here as a member of the Police Civil Service Commission.
Yes.
And I don't have much to say, but I did want to report to you that we're trying to get an attorney for the commission. We haven't had one in some time. We do have a small budget, it turns out. I actually only learned the budget today from Attorney LePage. Our budget for an attorney is $3,600 a year, which at $250 an hour is 14.4 hours. So that covers 12 meetings a year and 2 extra hours. And I think this might be an example of why we shouldn't tie our hands about budgets with no changes. This is the last minute thing, and this is no criticism of that action that was taken. But we've just learned that the budget is so small that we might have trouble getting an attorney for the commission. It's been recommended both by Attorney LePage and the police department that we have rules that need to be updated, which would require an attorney. Additionally, we recently had a personnel matter that came before the board, which we very much should have had an attorney present for to make sure we were doing that correctly. So I don't know what our budget should be for an attorney, but to rewrite some of our guidelines and to be able to attend an executive session or two a year, I think this budget should be enlarged to some amount. I'm sorry it's so late to the game, but again, I only learned this item today. So that's all I've got for that, but we need to get an attorney. I don't know if our budget's going to allow us to actually do it. And since we haven't had an attorney for some time, I don't know if we have a balance in our budget. I haven't talked to our comptroller. I don't know the details yet. I apologize for the partial information, but I do know that we have $3,600 a year, and that probably isn't going to be enough for the needs of the commission.
Okay.
Okay, and I don't know what to do with that, but I did wanted to bring it to the council's attention.
We actually have Controller Marilyn Wall present. Is this something that you can look into and get back with Mr. Mellon? Or if you have information on that right now in regards to if they have those funds available in their budget?
It's Marilyn Wall, City Controller. Yes, Amber had reached out to me, and that's how she was able to get that number. So I was able to look up in the budget. It's in everybody's budget book, and so I could easily, supply you with the actual budget for that commission. So, yep. Was that the question?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Do you think now is a good time? I'm here for another reason too.
Another board?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, Madam President. As a member of the Revolving Loan Committee of Michigan City, I reviewed the last meeting, and I saw there were many questions about the revolving loan, the purpose and what we're doing. So the revolving loan fund, as of July, had a balance of $1,030,000. It has been somewhat stagnant, as we've made 4 loans that I'm aware of. 3 are performing. 1 has been paid off. The 2 are performing, and unfortunately, 1 is in arrears. The one that's in arrears, they were extended a $90,000 loan, and the city has received $65,000 back on that. And there is a lien in place, or there is a mechanism to try to make sure we get paid for the rest. The successful loans were to Zorn Brewery. Zorn's expansion we helped with, and they are current in their payments. We also helped Myers Glass did an expansion, and they are paid in full. Their loan is fully performed. And then we also helped St. Andrew's Products, and they're also current in their obligation. The total monthly payments we're receiving right now are $3,438 a month. So our balance goes up by approximately $10,000 every 3 months. Seeing that was somewhat stagnant, we had a meeting, a board meeting. The mayor attended. Councilman Prisbalinski was there as a council liaison. And at that time, we sort of redefined what our mission would be. And in doing that, we realized we're the only tool that the city has that can lend money within the entire municipal limits, city limits. TIFs are limited to the TIF areas. Urban Enterprise Zone is limited to the zone. We can help people anywhere within the city limits. We also redefined our mission to be kind of a smaller thing, that we're looking for people that are in business and are looking to expand, smaller businesses. My example, it might not be a good one. Somebody has a hot dog cart, but now they're ready for a food truck. We want to help that small business take their next step. That said, with the $1 million balance that wasn't doing much, amongst the discussion and the mayor's recommendation, and this is what's before you later today, because the ordinance has to be changed to allow this, if you agree, that we would fund the Economic Development Corporation of Michigan City $200,000 a year for 2 years, a total of $400,000. That we would take $300,000 specifically to be a matching grant fund for the all-inclusive playground. And as that was legislated or drafted, that's now for any park facility. But it's to be used as a matching grant to try to leverage that into more funds. So that's $700,000 of the $1 million. That leaves $1 million, or that leaves $330,000 as our balance for these smaller loans. So that's what I wanted to bring to your attention. That was a discussion with the mayor's suggestion, and that was that we would fund EDCMC for 2 years, and that we would add $300,000 to a matching fund for the parks, and we redefined our mission to be for smaller businesses trying to take their next step. And we can serve the entire city. It's just another tool in Clarence's toolbox. We don't determine if people get the loan or not. It's subject to SBA rules. So we're only taking applications and forwarding them, if you will. So we don't make the lending decisions is what I'm trying to say. We're not trying to lose money. We want this to be effective. But I know there were a lot of questions, but that was the goal. And I know there was a letter to that, and I'm sure Clarence will speak to it later as well. But I just took it upon myself that I wanted to try to bring as much clarity as I could for you. I hope that helps.
Councilman Dabney, you have a question?
Yes, I do. Regarding the portion that we're talking about grants or loans that we'd be giving away to small businesses or whatever it may be.
Loan.
However that turns out. I would really like to see us have them provide quotes of work and things that they're going to do and be able to pay them on the front side of it, rather than what we do with some of the other programs around the city is reimburse. They're a small business and then we make them pay $15,000 and then we reimburse them when they're needing the money up front to be able to do whatever it is they need to do. So if it goes down that way, I would love to see us be able to pay these things up front. And that really addresses more of the grant part of it. But you guys have decided it's going to be a loan still. Okay.
I believe so.
All right.
Your point is well taken, but it's whatever the law would allow. I think if we want to have discussion as whether something like a facade grant would be worthwhile, that's something that is between you to discuss.
Right.
But I don't think our committee would have any problem with that. Our goal is to help people succeed. And you're right, it might be more helpful as a grant up front if they can show good faith in that.
Yeah. And another concern I've always had with the revolving loan fund and the fact that we're not a bank as a city. If someone goes into default, it just has to sit until we put a lien on it. And then when they sell, and then we don't even know where we come in line in terms of getting paid. If they already have a business loan against the business or something like that, that's obviously going to get paid first. So I'm always concerned about us using the money as a loan program. And I was concerned about this from day one. And the fact that if somebody were to go into default, we say, oh, we could put a lien on it. But if that business goes belly up, where do we stand in terms of collecting those dollars back? I know we're not first in line because I'm sure they have other things that'll be there as well to put them into bankruptcy. So that's always been a concern of mine. Like I said, I know there's one that's in default right now that we did put a lien on, and hopefully we're able to get significant portion, if not all of that money back once it sells or whatever they're trying to do with that bankrupt business.
Again, even on that one, we're only short $25,000 right now, which is not nothing, of course, but it's not the full 90 either. And you're right. The final point I would make, you're right. We're not, whether we want to be in the lending business or not, that's for you. But when lending is normal, when things are normal, it's probably not needed. It's when things freeze or there's a recession or when money gets hard, it might be when this is a more powerful tool. That's the only thing I would caution us, that it might not have been useful in the recent past, but with this redefined mission, smaller loans, hopefully it's still a possible good tool to help Michigan City.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm saying is I'd rather see it as a grant program, like facade grants and things like that. Like I said, somebody provides you with the quotes of the work that's going to be done. We give out the grant, and then they go from there. We pay the vendor. We can even do that rather than pay the owner of the business, but we pay the vendor to do the work after it's been approved through the committee. Yep.
Thank you.
Dr. Cora?
Thank you, Madam President. I have two comments/questions. One is, you said there is a balance of $300,000 left.
Right now, it's $1 million. It should be $1,040,000 right now.
If these two were to move forward, there's
Yes.
a balance of 300, and there is some money outstanding out there which will be repaid. So when all that comes in, probably it'll be $400,000, $500,000. Yep.
Something like that.
That's one thing. And the second thing is, if it's a revolving loan fund, can we make grants out of a loan fund? I'm not sure. Maybe it's something the attorneys can look into and educate us down the road. And yeah, that's my comment. Thank you.
Councilman Prisbalinski?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. Yeah, in response to this, the grant fund, and I don't want to get into a big discussion here all night long about this, but my personal take is it's a loan fund right now. If we're giving out grants, we never get our money back. If somebody comes and says, well, I want a $30,000 grant to do facade work. Well, you give them 30,000, that's free money. Eventually that program's going to be done. So I just wanted to explain that point. Yeah, thank you.
Are there any other, Councilwoman Moldenauer?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. I was going to wait until the ordinance came up, but it appears everybody's saying what they would usually say later. So I just wanted to add that I did do the research on the ordinance. And the objective of it is to create an incentive financing program to secure industrial and commercial business retention, expansion, and external locations to the Michigan City community. The primary targets are as such: manufacturing, logistics, wholesale warehouse and transportation, information and advancing technology, service industries and construction trades. And eligible uses are purchase of machinery and equipment, purchase of building and land of prospect operations, construction, repair, and renovations of buildings, operating capital, including inventory and work in progress, quantifiable employee training when state and federal grants have been investigated and exhausted. So that's actually what the ordinance says it was set up for. So my disjoint in this whole thing that's coming before us this evening is looking at those definitions. This would not include an all-inclusive playground, even if it's given as a matching grant to, stimulate people actually donating to that project. And the support of the Michigan City Economic Development Corporation would not come under this definition either. So I agree that all of these are valuable projects for our community, but it seems that we're on two different parallel pathways here. And I really commend the committee for doing some creative thinking and coming up with some ways to actually leverage this money to get some things that we would see to be valuable. But looking at the ordinance and the goals, objectives, eligible uses that came from this city council in the past, I think that we as the ruling body of this city need to sit down and have a conversation that if we're going to redo this, then we need to cancel this ordinance and start over, because this just seems so different from the original purpose that was set up for it. And I really do want to commend the committee on thinking creatively, thinking out of the box, but I'm going to be a stickler for following procedures that need to be followed. So, thank you.
I would only say that's why the ordinance is in front of you today, to change it to reflect these changes, to exactly address that.
Stated.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
got one question.
Councilman Nelson?
Would the funds be exclusive to Michigan City residents?
I'm not sure of that. Maybe Mr. Holtz would know, but it's for businesses within the city limits of Michigan City. So I don't think there's an address that I don't believe there's a requirement that you be a Michigan City resident, but I'm not sure. Well, if they're investing in Michigan City, that's the goal. Yeah, they're investing in Michigan City, so we're trying to help Michigan City.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the council? If there are none, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
This is the last call for reports from boards and commissions. Moving on the agenda, next we have reports of special or select committees. Reports of special or select committees. Report of special or select committees. There are none. Reports from the mayor or other city officers and departments. Reports from mayor or other city officers and departments. Last call for reports from mayor or other city officers and departments. So now we are on comments from the public. Excuse me. If you could, please, for one moment, I would like to address the public. Thank you. I greatly appreciate that, Mr. Kalavic. I just want to point out that if there is an error on my part or oversight on my part, I have no problem to admit publicly when I am wrong. So with that being said, a constituent, Mr. Paul Prisbalinski, pointed out in regards to public comments as to where I had public comments put on the council agenda from the end to the head part of the agenda. And as it does state, according to the ordinance, the format on how each one of the categories should be listed. So you do stand correct, Mr. Prisbalinski. Thank you for pointing that out. However, there is also still language that also indicates, just for the record, as to why and what I was basing this on was per the city code, the presiding officer or council president may entertain comments from people in attendance regarding any ordinance or resolution under consideration after each reading and prior to council comments and debate. City Code Chapter 2, Section 2-59A and 8, the fact that it says may and not must or shall makes it discretionary and not mandatory. Additional, per the plain language of the code, public comment is within the discretion of the presiding officer. One of the things, and additionally, even if it did say shall or must, the council has the ability to suspend the rules per a 2/3 vote. City Code Chapter 2, Section 2-51A and 2. So I would like to state that. So I would ask if to suspend the rules on the agenda in regards to moving public comments as it is stated now. If I could entertain a motion. If not, then public comments will then be held at the end of our meeting, towards the end. Okay. I'm requesting for a motion to keep public comment at the beginning of the agenda. And this is a decision by the council. If there's no, I'm sorry, this is
Order.
This is not, excuse me, sir, Mr. Prisbalinski.
You called me out on the council rules. Can I at least address the public in the council?
This is not public comment.
Well, after,
What
are you
it's
gonna
not a-
allow
it's
any
not-
debate if you get a motion? Are you gonna allow any kind of comment?
This is not open to the public. This is a decision from the council to make a motion or not a motion. I'm not gonna engage in a debate. So if you
Anything that comes
would
up
like
for
to
a
move
vote
forward
to
with the
be
meeting,
able to
Mr.
have public
Prisbalinski.
comment.
Point of order, Mr. Prisbalinski. Thank you for sitting down.
So again, the question is, again and again, if there is a motion to suspend the agenda where I am looking to see if there is a motion to leave public comments at the beginning of the agenda. If there is no motion, then public comments will be held at the end where they were before. Can I entertain a motion? Due to that there is no motion, then public comments are now held at the end. Moving on. Madam Clerk, on petitions, please.
The clerk's office received a petition P 101-25 rezoning M2 to R1C, parcel number 46-1-24-100- 004-000-022, and 46-01, 24-100-068.000-022. And this address is 504 Eastwood Road, Michigan City, Indiana.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, on communications?
Correspondence was received in the clerk's office on October 8th from Mayor Angie Nelson regarding the monthly September Forester report. Correspondence was also received on October 8th from Nick Pollack, President of the Social Status of African American Males Commission, requesting an annual contribution from the Common Council.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, our first resolution by title only, please.
A resolution by title only approving submission of application for the 2026 Community Crossing Matching Grant Program with the Indiana Department of Transportation and supporting the local match for said grant, CCMG. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman and Ms. Molda.
Thank you. Any comments from the sponsors? I would just like to indicate in regards to this resolution, the importance as to why we are requesting to do this cross-matching grant is, first, I would just like to share with you that the name of the grantor or the grant title is the Indiana Department of Transportation Community Crossing Matching Grant Program. Why is it beneficial to the city to apply for this grant? This grant will allow the city to double the budget for street paving. And in our council packets, you do have those streets provided to you. And I hope that if you have not had the opportunity to please make sure that you do review those. Also, the purpose of the grant and the proposed use of the grant is the grant is going to be used to pave streets in the worst conditions as determined by the engineer, assisting the city based on the PACER report. Also, all relevant timeframes and schedule, including any deadlines for submission, all applications and closing out the grant. The application process opens at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard, October 1st, 2025. So this resolution is time sensitive and the deadline to submit the application is 5 p.m. Eastern Standard, October 31st, 2025. Are there any other comments from the sponsor?
Thank you, Madam President. This is one of the platforms that I ran on when I actually ran for the city council. Upon researching, I realized that hundreds of thousands of dollars were being left on the table every year that the city of Michigan City could have to actually pave more streets. And to be honest, the thing I hear most often about are potholes and cracks and fixing that needs to be done with our streets. So that's why I jumped on this to sponsor it, because $1 million is a lot of money and it's going to go a long ways to take care of a lot of the complaints that people have about the poor condition of our streets. So it's my pleasure to be able to be one of the sponsors of this with our president.
I would like to open this up for public comments. Are there any public comments on this resolution? Please keep in mind that public comments on this resolutions are 3 minutes.
Hi, this is Tommy Kolovic from 1316 Ohio Street. I got something to complain about. I've complained about this before, and I'm going to complain about it every time the CCMG fund issue comes up. Back in 2003, when Paz Rose was reconstructed under Mayor Perry's administration, we were promised and we were supposed to get sidewalks put on Paz and Woodland Avenue between Michigan City High School and the new LaPorte County Career Center, where the new automotive shop and Little Woes Erling Center is located. The doctor was going to be the Dr. Barbies and Watkins Center. We need to get those sidewalks in like what was promised. We're not going to keep letting our students in our city down on that. I want those sidewalks in between our two schools for our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
They said they're not getting that because that's not in the TIF district.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Sal Dunlap. 729 East Michigan Boulevard. Ms. Molenauer, transportation is key anywhere. the better our thoroughfares are, the better we are. However, I would encourage us to consider using a process in which crushed rubber is mixed with asphalt as a way of repairing potholes. The purpose here is that when it freezes over the winter and then contracts, it won't crack up. But also included in that application is a need for some type of a scientific way other than by word how to repair potholes. If more attention is given to the repair of them and using this technique, I think we'll get much, much more mileage out of that $1 million that you're taking a look at. And if you would like to talk with me about that further, it'd be my pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Dunlap. Are there any other public comments on this resolution?
Ernie Hallahan, 302 Gladys Street. Hadn't been in a while, but in regard to potholes, I've hit many of them. Actually, there's one right out here. And every time I leave here, I hit that pothole, and I know it's there. I will call the city tomorrow, see if the street department can't at least fill that hole, because it's a very, very rough hit, believe me. But there's a lot of them down Michigan Boulevard. Evidently, you run out of money for paving this year, so that's what I was told. But they didn't get much paved. Some of the bad ones, yeah, but some that really needed it, they didn't get to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood Place. Yes, absolutely, we should apply for this grant. If we can get money that's outside our taxing boundaries, I say let's, like voting in Chicago, let's apply early and often and get as much of it as we can.
Yes.
Thank you for sponsoring this.
Paul Przybylski, 1716 Washington Street. I really don't have any comments for this, but I do have some comments for the paving program. First of all, I would like to know, does anybody know if any brick streets were repaired? I don't think so, but I think that there needs to be a mechanism so you can address this, not by email, not by a telephone call, none of that. A formal request for street repair. I made a request to the city engineer about Charles Street, and it has not been on any list. It has not been fixed. The city engineer has not contacted me to look at the street because there was a hole that was repaired on inferior bricks, and they keep galding. That's called galding when the bricks come apart, and they're ending up on my driveway, and that's quite a distance. But the thing is that I asked about it and nothing's happened. And I certainly am not looking for the whole street to be repaired, but just that area because it's flinging out chips. And when the plows come down there, so I just think there needs to be a mechanism to address this on street repair and a study, not a study, but actual work being done on the brick streets, because we passed legislation to fund a repair fund for that.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments on this resolution? This is the last call for public comment on this resolution. Public comments are now closed. Comments from the council? Councilman Przybylski?
Yeah, Madam President, and to address the streets and Mr. Nelson just asked me, how does this list come about? It's done by what I was told, an engineering company. 2 engineers go out and supposedly survey all the streets in the city on an annual basis. I've never really trusted that because I don't know how 2 gentlemen can go out and travel the whole city and determine what's good from 1 to 10. And I see the streets that are on that list, and I travel some streets that I believe should be repaired it should be on that list. And one thing I would say, and I know that's how this list is put together, but when previous administrations were here, they would call councilmen into their, into the meeting that was taking place, and they could actually express streets that they think needed repairs, and the city engineer would go out and at least take a look at it to see if that should be on the list, to see if that's something that was missed. And I believe that that's what should happen now. So I'm just making a request to the administration and the city engineer for future reference, and as far as getting streets repaired.
Councilman Dabney.
And I just want to remind the people how this all works in regards to getting the streets approved. It's kind of like it's a lag. So after winter, we go over to we see all these streets that are broken up and crushed up and everything like that, and we want those repaired. But what has happened is we've gotten the approval already to repair streets that have been broken up last year. So these will now be applied for to be repaired in the next year. So that is with the Paiser rating that we're talking about and how the engineers go and rate these streets. So it's really a year behind. So after the winter goes, and like I said, there's holes all over the place. You say we need that one repaired and that one repaired, but we have applied to repair the ones that have been torn up last year. So these will come around the next year. So that's how the program works with INDOT, the Indiana Department of Transportation, that the paving happens a year after. So that's why you see and you have some of the complaints of some of the streets that have been torn up after the winter, because we are applying for ones that have been torn up last year. That's what the money, because you have to name the streets that you're applying for, and you don't know that these are going to be broken up during the winter time. You only got the ones that were broken up last winter. So that's why you see some of that. So just to be aware of that, as you take in the program for repaving the streets.
Councilwoman Lee.
Thank you, Madam President. Councilman Prismalinski, that's actually how I've gotten some of the roads in Ward 2 repaved. As a runner, I'm very up close to all the asphalt, so I send pictures to our street department constantly of potholes and of streets that need repair. And they went through the list and went out and looked at those streets. And so some of those did get repaired that I sent in.
I as well.
Yeah, and just in response to that, and so if those streets weren't on the list, then they got put on the list because the council person said something to the city engineer rather than following the Paiser rating report that was done. And that's, and that's fine. So you got them fixed and that's good. I'm just saying, if we're going to follow it. If not, then call in every council person and ask them give me the worst 5 streets in your ward and we'll see what we can do for you. I'm just talking about being fair across the whole board. Yeah. Thank you.
May I entertain a motion? Oh, Councilwoman Moldenauer.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to also acknowledge residents in Ward 6 that have let me know about streets that were badly in need of repair. And I do drive around my ward every so often too, so I add to that list. In the last couple of years, Ward 6 got quite a few streets paved. And it was my understanding it had been years before any streets had been paved in Ward 6. So for me, the system is working, and I want the residents of my ward and the citizens in Michigan City to know that.
Councilman Dabney.
Hopefully this is the last comment, but there is a difference between repaved, the whole street being done, and then these repairs, because we see potholes in certain streets, and I'll call the street department and say, hey, can you come and put fill the holes, basically. But they're not going to repave the whole street when that happens. So you get repairs, but not the whole street's going to get repaved at that time when we call in. At least that's what I've seen in my 10 years on the council. I've never seen them come and repave a whole street, but repair, just potholes and things of that sort. And we do that. All of us do that all the time.
Thank you. If there are no further comment.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Beardry and a second by Dr. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Ms. Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dietry,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Dr. Core.
Aye.
And Ms. Lee.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
And the resolution passes. Madam Clerk, our first ordinance for this evening, by title only, please.
An ordinance on first reading by title only, amending the zoning map of the city of Michigan City, LaPorte County, Indiana, to rezone real property located at 504 Eastwood Road from the M2 Heavy Industrial District zoning district classification to R1C Single Family Residential District zoning district classification. And this is introduced by Mr. Dabney.
Does the sponsor have like to make any comment?
Yes, this is a simple zoning change from manufacturing to residential. There is a house that already sits on this property, but it was miszoned. So now we have to rezone this to residential, because if the property owners, were to try to sell later, they would have an issue because it's not zoned properly. So this came through the Planning Commission, where we went ahead and did this approval in the Planning Commission to send them to the council. I believe they had a favorable recommendation to get this done, but that's what happened. We have to fix the zoning here because the people who own the property, if they wanted to do something with it later, would have issues because the zoning is incorrect. So somehow that zoning was not proper for residential.
Thank you. I'd like to open this up for public comments. Are there any public comments on this ordinance?
Oh, yes, this is Tommy Kolovic from 1316 Ohio Street. But this is basically this is going to be for the future Singing Sands housing units that are going to be going in at Michigan Boulevard and 8th Street. I'm really looking forward to attending that groundbreaking when it finally comes happen, having that come to fruition, to have good affordable housing for our residents here in Michigan City. Probably some of my families are going to be moving in there. So this came down from the Plan Commission. I hope this gets unanimously approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott Melantura, County Place. I attended that Planning Commission, which did pass this forward to you with a favorable review. I believe the manufacturing zone came after the housing was built. So I think they were in compliance when it was built, and then we put an overlay over them. And these people also are planning, they're very much ecology minded. They don't want to develop it. They actually want to develop it to be more of a nature reserve type thing. So I would hope you would approve this. That was passed forward from planning with an affirmative. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments on this ordinance? This will be.
Members of the council, can you hear me? This is Anthony Novak. I'm the attorney representing petitioner on Zoom.
Yes, Attorney Novak.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to thank Councilman Dabney for sponsoring this ordinance and for the comments from the members of the public. Just to clarify, this is property on Eastwood Road. It's not related to any other sort of residential development. Zoned M2, just on the other side of the woods to the east is Highway 212, but just across the street to the west is all zoned R1C. So the property owners who are environmentally inclined have no desires to ever use this as a manufacturing related property. Given it's zoned M2, they technically can't rehabilitate, reconstruct, or build a new residence. They want to make this property, they want to focus on the nature of it. They want to probably build a house here so that they can live there, or their family members could live there, and down zoning it from M2 to R1C would essentially make those dreams come true. So as Councilman Dabney indicated, it was a unanimous approval from the Plan Commission, and we're in front of you tonight and would ask that you would support this ordinance. And available for any questions, as is one of the owners, Joe Brennan, there tonight.
Thank you, Attorney Novak.
Thank you.
With that being said, this is the last call for public comment on this ordinance. Public comments are now closed. Any comments from the council? Are there any comments from the council? Any comments from the council? This ordinance will be held over for a second reading. Madam Clerk, on our next ordinance on second reading by title only.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, ratifying and reaffirming certain findings, determinations and designation in ordinance number 4771 regarding the establishment of an economic improvement district and authorizing and approving other actions with respect thereto. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman.
Thank you. So this ratifying and reaffirming the changes was some scrivener errors that was done to where we had to change. There was two letter words was MC Lakefront to LLC. And I would, just for the record, I know that there was some questions in regards to this. So we do have Attorney Rampala online, and we have Attorney Alan Siernick here as well, and we have Skylar York. So if you all could elaborate on this, please.
Yeah, I can jump in. I apologize. For some reason, it appears as though you can't see me. You only see a picture of me, but I'll carry on. There were some questions raised regarding the creation of the EDC, which has nothing to do what's before you. What is before you, as the council president indicated, is just correcting some very minor technical issues with the wording of the one LLC. The issues raised related to whether or not the LLCs are for-profit or not-for-profit. And before I answer the two questions, I guess I would just give background again, just to set the stage again. When you consider the ordinance establishing the EID, we went through some of this, but I think it's important just to repeat it. It is correct that the petition to create the EID would need to be signed by a majority of property owners that are for-profit property owners. In this case, the property originally was owned by the Redevelopment Commission, and the intent before getting into the EID, the intent of the Redevelopment Commission would be to transfer the property to the SOLA developer when the SOLA developer was ready to close. When it became clear that the EID would be used as a mechanism for the financing, it also became clear under the statute, the EID statute, that we needed for-profit ownership of the property. At that point, the RDC had two options. One, transfer the property to the solar developer before they were ready to close financially, which was not deemed to be prudent. It wouldn't be in the public interest to transfer property to the private developer before they've evidenced their ability to close on the property. The second alternative, which is one that's used around the state in situations like this, is to transfer the property from the Redevelopment Commission to a third-party entity, in this case, the two limited liability companies that were established for that purpose, so that at the end of the day, the two LLCs are for-profit and they would adequately serve as petitioners for the EID establishment. What will happen is if the SOLA developer is prepared to demonstrate that they are able to close financially, the Redevelopment Commission at closing will direct the two LLCs to transfer the property to the developer. If for some reason the SOLA developer isn't prepared to close, in the worst case scenario, then the LLCs will transfer the property back to the Redevelopment Commission. There is no profit element with respect to the LLCs. The property was transferred to the LLCs for no consideration, or for nominal consideration, and the property then would be transferred by the LLCs to the developer for nominal consideration, which is exactly what the Redevelopment Commission would have done if there was not to be an EID. If there were no EID, we wouldn't have needed to use the LLCs. So with that as background, again, just the two questions that were raised. One is that the county's Beacon website shows the two parcels that are owned by the LLCs as still being tax-exempt properties. I cannot explain why Beacon shows that. There's two possibilities. One, Beacon hasn't been updated yet because the transfers from the Redevelopment Commission to the limited liability companies would remove that tax exemption. So it may well be that the county just hasn't updated Beacon yet. The other alternative is that if you think about it, the taxes due on that property, if there were any, in pay 25 is from the ownership of the property in 2024. So there are 2024 pay 2025 taxes. At the time in 2024, the redevelopment commission owned the property, so there would be no taxes due on the property in 2025. In 2026, with the ownership of the transferring to the LLCs in 2025, that beacon should be updated by next year to show that the property is coded as owned by for-profits, but they are in fact owned by for-profits now. With the transfer from the redevelopment commission to the LLCs earlier in the summer, they are in fact owned by LLCs. The second issue that was raised, or second question that was raised to the council, was that there was a conflict of interest because the attorney for the redevelopment commission serves as the registered agent for the LLCs. That does not reflect or represent a conflict of interest. What was done by using the LLCs was exactly in the public benefit. It was providing for the transfer to an interim third party without transferring the property ultimately to the solar developer. It would not be in the public's interest to transfer the property to the solar developer early before it had demonstrated its ability to receive all its financing to close on the project. So there really is no conflict of interest for the attorney to serve as redevelopment commission attorney and as registered agent for the two LLCs. The two LLCs are acting in the public benefit by serving as that intermediary so that in the unlikely event that the solar developer isn't able to close, the redevelopment commission can receive the property back from the two LLCs. So hopefully that provides some context for the two questions that were raised, and I apologize I got into the weeds a bit, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Dr. Cora?
Mr. Impala, thank you very much for the clarification, because this is a lot of legal stuff. And basically the bottom line is that from what you have explained, you did not want to give this land to solar till they had their financing in place. Because if they don't get their financing, then we need to get that land back so that some other developer will develop that land. That's the bottom line. Is that correct?
That is correct. And the use of the LLCs was, again, in the public benefit because of that reason.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I guess I have to put a point of order on myself. It shouldn't be council questions or comments. I have to actually open it up to the public for public comments and then come back to council. This is now open up for public comments. Are there any public comments on this ordinance?
Paul Przybylski, 1716 Washington Street. On the LLCs, who was the besides Attorney Cernak, that was the whatever the terminology was used, was he the only agent? Were you the only agent that was on the LLCs? Was anybody else on the LLC, since we're talking about this publicly?
We are discussing this.
Clarence,
This is
was,
being discussed publicly,
okay.
Mr. Przybylski, but this is comments, not Q&A.
Well,
Oh, we hear
that's
your comments.
That's a transparent question, and it should be answered because of all this that has transpired. I think the public, there comes a point in time where transparency is above everything else. And this is not a session of truth and consequences on TV. This is the right of the public to know what's going on here. This was really jumbled up, and I'm not blaming Mr. Cernak at all. Is that I think it should have been handled before it even got to you guys. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments on this ordinance?
Hello, Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. I really have a problem with the city land being given to redevelopment. I don't know what mechanism you're using to backdoor our right to put bids in for city property as well. We should have that right to bid on property. But for some reason, somehow you're getting around that. I'm pretty sure it's going to change, but this was not a typographical error. Clarence Hoss has made several fraudulent LLCs that doesn't exist. It started off as a Michigan City Lakefront LLC. Well, one of my friends bought that LLC, and we knew for a fact that it didn't exist. So when they went to go transfer back in July, I believe July 3rd, he was stuck. He went over to the recorder's office, they recorded it, they put it down. That's kind of fraud. I think that's fraudulent. If not fraud on itself. And now when he went back to go get the LLC, he seen that we bought it, he couldn't do it. So then he changes to MC Lakefront. This is not a typographical error. This is just a way to get around allowing everybody the absolute right to bid on city property. It's wrong. Something needs to change. Excuse me?
So the name of the LLC.
Well,
If you could just keep that address. to
thank
the
you. I
council.
appreciate you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from the council? I'm sorry, from the public? This will be the last call for public comment on this ordinance. Public comments are now closed. Public comments from the council. Councilman Nelson.
Randolph,
Attorney Rampal.
Attorney Randolph,
Yes.
Randy, I'm sorry.
Randy.
You said, from what I gathered, you said there can be some errors on the beacon.
Yes, the beacon is not correct because the beacon on the website, it does show it as being owned by an exempt entity, but that's not accurate because the transfers were to the two LLCs and those are not exempt. They are for-profit entities.
Okay, so when it says one of the parcels is owned by City of Michigan City, you're saying that's incorrect?
No, there are, the requirement of the statute is that 60% of the parcels that will be in the EID must be owned by for-profit entities, so that, or 60% of the petitioners must be for-profit entities. So in this case, the Redevelopment Commission transferred essentially 60% of the property that would comprise the EID to the two limited liability companies. The Redevelopment Commission did retain ownership of one parcel, but it was less than, it was 40% of the remaining of the property. So 60% of the property was in fact, or is in fact, owned by the limited liability companies, thus qualifying to be petitioners for the economic.
Excuse me, Attorney Rampala.
So
May I please have one of the officers to close the door because their conversation is echoing into the chambers. Could someone please close the door from the conversation that's carried into the chambers, please?
I guess I'm still confused. If the city owned the property at one point, you're saying it was transferred to redevelopment, and if it was, how does that process happen?
So if the property was owned by the Redevelopment Commission earlier this year, if it was previously owned by the City of Michigan City itself, it is possible for, and I'm assuming this is what happened, that the City of Michigan City transferred the property to the Redevelopment Commission. There is a provision under Indiana law that one governmental unit can transfer property to another governmental unit, and the Redevelopment District of Michigan City, which is governed by the Redevelopment Commission, would be a separate governmental unit for that purpose. So the property was legally owned by the Redevelopment Commission. The Redevelopment Commission went through a disposition process a while back for the Sola site. And once they go through that disposition process, they don't have to repeat it. And so earlier this year, the Redevelopment Commission was well within its rights legally to transfer the property to the two limited liability companies. If there was no EID to be created, we wouldn't have needed to do that. The property would have been simply transferred to the Sola developer at the financial closing later this year. But because there was an EID being created, the Redevelopment Commission determined that it wouldn't be in the public benefit to transfer property to a private developer who wasn't prepared to close at the time of the transfer. So the idea of using the two limited liability companies was in the public benefit because it allowed the Redevelopment Commission to transfer to those LLCs, knowing that if the Sola developer doesn't close, those LLCs will transfer the property back to the redevelopment commission.
Okay, I get all that. That's the same thing that's being repeated. What I want to know is if we own the property, how does redevelopment get it? Can you answer that, Skylar? Or
Yeah, you just
I'm
don't,
just confused
the
with.
city does not own the property. It is deeded to the redevelopment commission.
Okay.
That's the simple truth.
Okay, so when it's said on the beacon, that's just inaccurate.
It's inaccurate. You have
Okay.
to look at the deeds. So
Okay.
I'm gonna let him.
I just don't, just for the history part of it, and certainly I think everybody here knows it, this is the property that used to have the Michigan City Police Department.
And the news
Michigan City
dispatch.
News dispatch.
Correct.
And then when they were sold, they were purchased by the redevelopment commission on behalf of the city. So it's always been on the ownership of the redevelopment commission on the part of the city.
Mhm.
So there was never any city ownership except for the police department part. But when that was demolished, it was then given, just like I think you have another resolution to you before you tonight or sometime coming up in the future, with like 6 or 8 different parcels that through conversations between the city and the redevelopment commission, because the redevelopment commission has considerable flexibility when it comes to redeveloping property and then transferring it back over to private ownership and getting it back on the tax rolls, much more flexibility than the city would have. So that's why we do these things, to take advantage of the laws that allow for this type of redevelopment as opposed to, not doing that. So I hope that answers the question. That's where this whole thing started about 10 years ago. And we've been looking for trying to do development for the past 10 years.
I guess the biggest question is people have, how do someone in the public obtain properties where, it seems like they're just being given away or auctioned off to different entities?
As Mr. Roncola just said, though, there's a requirement in the statute that before any public body, city, redevelopment commission, anybody disposes of any kind of property, it must go through a public offering. So that's how, when these public offerings are out there and are published, and that happened in this case too, for these 2 parcels or for the entire parcel, that anybody who has an interest in it can express that interest to the redevelopment commission. That has happened and that's passed and nobody expressed any interest. And once that happens, that's when the redevelopment commission then starts looking for qualifications for development that are consistent with the city's norms and the city's future ambitions.
Thank you.
Councilman Prisbalinski?
Yeah, just one more question for Attorney Cernak. And I know all this will fall apart, right? If Solis doesn't have the proper financing, the way I understand.
When you say fall apart, it basically, we would start over. We would have to probably issue another RFP, just being honestly. We don't have to, but we probably would, because we'd be changing what we're actually looking for development wise, right?
My point is that it wouldn't all fall apart, but Solis, it would no longer be the Solis project. Okay, so where do they stand with their financing? Is their financing 100% strong? They're going to be going forward with this project?
Yeah, good question. Skylar York, Director of Redevelopment, just so we're on the record. We meet with them weekly. They are telling me they've got financing in place. They have put together their Randolph. Can you remind me what it's called? When they go to bond, they put out the offering sheet. They have created an offering sheet right now. They're looking at bond buyers, because remember, we're not providing the bond for them. They are selling. They're doing it's a developer backed bond, so takes the risk off the city. So they're still working through that, but they have put together the offering sheet and things of that nature, which is a starting point for making the offers to the bond to be purchased. Yeah, I would also like to add that December 19th is the cutoff date that we have set. And if that's not done by December 19th, you are correct, Councilman.
Thank you very much. And I'm sure that the public appreciates hearing that too.
Yes.
So we know where we're at.
We put 2 hard deadlines. We had to have certain things in, I think in July or August. They met that deadline. And then the financial obligation deadline is December 19th. We'll find out soon.
Are there any other comments from the council? If there are none, this ordinance will be held over for third reading.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Madam Clerk, on our next ordinance on second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, amending certain subsections in section 38-33 in the Michigan City Municipal Code regarding the revolving loan fund. And this is introduced by Mr. Preselinski.
Does the sponsor have any comments they'd like to make?
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, board member Scott Medlin was up here earlier explaining the revolving loan program, and I'm going to invite Clarence Halls to come up and explain more about the ordinance. I went through the whole ordinance at last council meeting verbatim, and I know that there was questions, and that's why Mr. Halls is here this evening to answer.
Good evening, Clarence Holt, EDCMC Director to Cadence Park Plaza. I'm going to try and give some background. I know Scott kind of took some out already, so if I miss anything, please ask me a question. Part of the history is the funding for the original program came from an incentive that was given to a company that was looking to leave Michigan City 2009-10. The city gave this company, Federal Mobile, $600,000 to help them stay in the city. At that time, they had a couple hundred jobs. They did downsize, and then in 2012, they decided to move and go to Mexico. So they didn't take the money we offered at that point. When I arrived, there was money sitting that the council had wanted to put together a revolving loan program. And so 2015 was when we put together a program to help with small business in the city. We had a couple of early takers. There were some issues with the program. We had the program modified in 2016 and again in 2020. Today you have, in front of you, as Scott mentioned, we had 5 loans. One's been paid off and one's in default. One of the issues being a city program is, we are the kind of the last lender. And so we get a lot of the tougher loans, which means when people come to us, we are second or third in the line. And so it means that if they don't pay, it's tough to collect the money on the back end, even though we have a lien. We are not the first person who's going to get paid when they sell. If you look in your agenda, I sent you a memo. Attachment A lists some of the inquiries we've had since 2019. We have done marketing over the years in terms of the normal Facebook, one-on-one. When people come to us, this is one of the many tools we offer to people. There are a number of people who offer loans beside the banks. There are a number of nonprofits in the region, Chicago, Indy, who offer loans to our residents. And so we we provide all those options. So people tend to go for the easier options. Our lending is pretty tight because we try not to lend money until we lose. But if you're in the lending business, there's nothing as 100% loan. Somebody is at some point going to not pay you back. That's the way it works as any banker. There's no 100% proof loan that you can ever get, even though the numbers of a person's credit may look great. Things happen in life. We've had people who lost family members or things like that, and the business goes away. So things happen along the way. The other thing too was we noticed that even when we market the program, people will sometimes want less than we have to offer, and they go to the bank, or sometimes they want more. One of the groups that have been very active in our market is a group called Regional Development Corporation out of Valparaiso. They've done a lot for small business loans, and they do a lot of work with the SBA, and they have zero down payments. And so a lot of time people go to them because it's easier to get a loan to them because of they can do up to $5 million. And so a lot of our loans have been around $1 million. And so we don't do that much. We do up to 260. So a lot of times when we even do offer a loan, we're not in the market to give them a loan because our loans are much smaller. Since COVID, as you mentioned, you see on your document, there hasn't been a lot of people looking to get a loan through us, even though we offer it. So the loan committee had met for almost 4 years. And so when we were looking to try and have a meeting, We have to come back to the council. I think you guys appointed some people earlier this year, March, April, some new people on the board. Made sure they met the guidelines for the committee. We had a meeting in July. And that's when the issue came up about what we do with the program. The money's been sitting there for over 4 years. If you have in your budget on your document what the numbers were, and so at that meeting, both the mayor and some other people said, let's work on getting some monies transferred for a number of reasons. Typically, another background is the city has paid the EDC for the last 30 years, well, not the last 10 years, $200,000 a year for providing services to the city. So where the money came from was to the Boyd Fund. The city has a fund specifically for economic development. That fund has been depleted. I guess the money has been spent over the years, and so there's no longer any money in that fund. And so the mayor asked the committee can you augment the city's budget by providing some funds to the city to pay our contract. Also at the meeting was the city is trying to raise $5 million to do a park in Feathers Alley. And so the question came up with, can we put some money towards that project? And so the committee recommended to move this forward. They voted positively to move forward to city council who's the only person who can make these budget transfers. So that's why it's here today. This been amended 3 times, well, twice already. So this will be the 3rd amendment to this document. So I know one I heard earlier that with this not the original document. Well, yes, because it can change. Things do change along the way, and that's why it's been amended twice already in the past. So.
Okay, if I would like to open this up for public comment. Are there any public comments on this ordinance?
Yes, this is Tommy Kolovic from 1316 Ohio Street again. So it's just like Clarence said earlier about them granting the $300,000 tax abatement for the former Federal Mogul Corporation back in 2013. They're out of business now. They were bought up by a corporation called Trico, and they sold the wiper business off to a company called Trico. Back then, when that tax abatement was granted, when Mayor Perry, he was the president of the city council, then they had actually brought their employees up from Mexico, and we had to provide them with training, or else they wouldn't give us our severance pay back then. So I just wanted to mention that. I just hope everything goes through, and good luck.
Thank you.
Paul Przybylski, 1716 Washington Street. I want to refer back to what Clarence Holt said, that this was discussed at a meeting and I believe voted on and passed in July of this year. Then the legislation was drafted to make this transfer appear to be okay. But as Ms. Molnauer brought up, the language in the ordinance is specific on what this money is supposed to be used for. It's supposed to be used to encourage investment in local businesses and as a loan, not as a grant to the park system. And I want to reiterate that this park is now at 5.5 million. I was at a redevelopment commission meeting last week and they had a report, and they have a bond that they're still paying on the sewer project called the Lafayette Barker Sewer Project, which is still was I think an $8 million bond issue, and not one sewer line is connected to it in the 2nd Ward. And that it's like a deep tunnel to nowhere that you still owe money on it. You know, we got to come up with a better game plan, okay? Want to spend 5.5 million on a park when you got people on Pearl Street, on every street in the whole east portion of the 2nd Ward going past Queen of All Saints that got combined sewers. That's where the money should be going. because that's a direct impact to the neighborhoods and the quality of life and the value of their homes and their property. There are
Mr. Prisbalinski.
there are sewers out there that are
This
plugged
particular ordinance.
with stone to slow them down. I think this is ludicrous on what this legislation is proposing for you people to do to justify it. Thank you.
Hi, Ernie Hollihan, 302 Gladys Street. I worked at a place right over here on Kentucky Street. It was originally family-owned Politier. And when Eddie went into the taxes, the Lion Metal took it over from Illinois. And it changed names to Lion Metal. And there were a lot of guys in there that had 40 years or more in that place. And they didn't close at the time they got rid of us in the union. They basically took the address from Kentucky Street, moved it around to Barker.
Is this pertaining to this ordinance?
This is pertaining, I'm getting to it.
Okay.
But they got rid of all the union people and hired temp service. That didn't help them either. They filed bankruptcy. And they had a brand new automatic welder in there and a powder coat paint line that the city paid for it. They got money from the city to do that. So when they left, they cut that automatic welder up and threw it in the dumpster. The powder paint line is still standing in that building there that the city paid for.
Okay.
They took you guys for a ride as well as us. So I just wanted to let you know that was one of them that didn't stand up with their money they borrowed from you.
Thank you. This will be the last call, second to the last call of public comment. Are there any other public comments on this ordinance? If there are no further public comments on this ordinance,
I'm sorry, Madam President. It was alleged, Scott Melantur in Kenwood Place, that we're changing the ordinance after the fact. No, the money, the controller could speak to this. The money has not been distributed. The money is still in the revolving loan account, as far as I know. Again, our controller could speak to this. If you affirm this legislation, then monies will be moved. Certainly, it hasn't happened yet. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Mellon. Public comments are now closed. Any comments from the council? Councilman Nelson.
I think paying towards the federal alley thing is a good thing. I'm just a little confused with paying towards the 2-year contract for the EDC. I was under the impression that the $1 million that y'all got would be paying towards that, and the city wouldn't have to help pay out.
Yes.
Well, Councilman, when you do a tax abatement, as tax abatement come due when a company claims the abatement, when there's construction, a company may not claim a benefit for 3 or 4 years. So there is no money to be had by the company or anybody else. So that's out there projected. There's no money out there. So, and there's money promised, but there's no cash.
Okay.
So, and that's, the company has to come back to council. One of the things we do is we verify what they said they would do. So every year we work with the city clerk's office, the county assessor, to make sure if there's a construction project, it was done and assessed. If it's they bought equipment, that was done. If they promised jobs, that was done. And then it comes here before the city council with a tax abatement committee. And then the committee recommends to the council is the company in compliance? If they're in compliance, they get the abatement. If they're not in compliance, they don't get the abatement. We have terminated, since my time here, 3 companies that didn't comply with abatements. So that's something we do annually, work with the city clerk's office and the tax abatement committee.
So you're saying that money is not in hand yet?
Oh, no.
Okay.
The money is not in hand until it gets approved by council, you guys.
I thought we approved the abatement though.
Not the compliance. There's their approval and then there's a compliance part. So we have to follow up to make sure they comply.
Okay.
And that's 2 or 3 years out.
Okay,
Then there's, yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Dr. Cora?
Madam President, I have a question for our attorney. The purpose of this loan fund was to provide loans, and we are doing something different with this. Will this ordinance allow us to change the objectives of this fund? That's the question for the attorney.
You are considering an amendment to an ordinance that is going to alter sections of city code, yes. So it seems to be very specific to the two initiatives that have been described so far tonight.
So you think this is a proper process to make this happen?
Yes, because the council is the city legislative body. So the council is charged with the responsibility for establishing city code of ordinances.
Thank you very
so if you choose to pass or repeal or amend ordinances, that's all within your discretion to do.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Councilman Beatrice?
I understand what some of the council people are saying as concerns that they have, but I'm looking at this as something that the mayor was in favor of. Committee members, some appointed by us, some by the mayor, some by EDC, all considered these changes and all recommended these changes. And we have a council liaison, Councilman Przybylski, who goes to their meetings, and he is also suggesting that we make these changes because they're in the best interest of the city. So I don't know why we're second guessing all of them and trying to overmanage their decisions. We asked them to take this responsibility. They have. They've come to us with a recommendation, and I think we ought to honor that. I don't get where all the other concerns are coming from.
Councilman Przybylski?
Thank you, Madam President. And I respect what Councilman Beatrice is saying, but I also respect the concerns of the other council members and the questions they have. The members of the public, the concerns they have, the questions they have, because that's why we're here this evening, to debate this and then make a decision on what we feel we should do. And I wouldn't bring this in front of the public or in front of the council unless our legal counsel, city attorney, was behind this and she knew exactly what was going on. Now, what we're doing is we're amending the original ordinance and we're just making changes in that direction. Yeah, we're not changing the overall meaning of the ordinance when it was first derived back in 2009, I believe, or yeah, give or take a couple years. Yeah. But overall, we have $1 million in that fund right now. A loan hasn't been made to anyone in 4 or 5 years. We still have money being paid back into that fund. So there will be more money coming in. But anyway, this money is going to help the city, the general fund, by funding the EDC for 2 more years. We're going to be able to move forward with the destination playground, so choose. And then this money can also be used for other playgrounds within the city, or as it says here, proposed to not limited to the destination playground, recreational capital, and beautification projects throughout the city. So to me, what we're doing here is the right thing to do with funds that are available. So I move to make a motion to approve. And I also want to make a motion for 3rd reading this evening.
Got a motion. We have one lawyer. You just turned it down. No.
You're on second reading, so you would need to approve on second reading. Then there would need to be a motion to suspend the rules to move to third.
Before there was a motion, there was still a council member that wanted to speak.
Correct.
I think there's 2.
There's 2.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Lee. Councilwoman Moldenhauer. Did you just turn yours on? Okay.
While he was talking,
Been moved and-
my light came on.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to point out that this is called the revolving loan fund. It's a loan. And even though it's been recommended that these changes be made by the mayor and also by the revolving loan fund committee, the city council is the one who decides what processes and procedures are followed. And even though both of these projects may look like things of benefit to the city, I don't believe it's the correct process. So if truly people want to take this $1 million and do something else with it, then we really need to have a conversation about dissolving the revolving loan fund and setting up a new mechanism to get these monies out. A $300,000 matching grant for the inclusive playground is not a loan. Paying for the services of the Michigan City Economic Development Commission for the next 2 years is not a loan. And I just want to keep coming back to that point because I do believe there's a proper way of doing this. And I don't think this ordinance is it. Even though it's recommended, even though it's legal, I do not believe it's the correct process. Thank you.
Councilwoman Lee?
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to make sure that this is clear, that we are not, this ordinance isn't asking us to approve specific funds to be designated for specific things, but what this ordinance is doing is changing the ordinance in order for the revolving loan fund to use funds for additional purposes. Am I correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Councilman Dabney?
It seems like we have a few different interpretations of how this all works. If we were to dissolve this and the money just went back to where it came from in the very beginning, I believe it came from Boyd Gaming, right? And the Boyd Fund states that that money must be used for economic development. Now, it seems like some of the council members are questioning, does this fall under economic development? The different things that we're using it for. Now, she was talking about whether it's a loan or not. In my mind, the name doesn't really matter. In my mind, it's where that money came from. At the very beginning, the fund that it originated out of, and that stipulates that that is supposed to be for economic development. So whether you're lending it, you're doing it as a grant, whatever, if it is for economic development, I'm okay with it. I don't understand. I mean, I'm trying to figure out if that is what's concerning some of the others, is that they don't feel like the $300,000 for the park is economic development, money to the EDCMC is economic development, and things of that sort. So it sounds like there's so much confusion that there may need to be a sit down talk with us to discuss this. I don't know how you all feel about that. I'm not going to make a motion to do anything. If somebody else does, that's up to them. But in my understanding, we're going to have to figure out, does this constitute economic development as where the original money came from, whatever we do with this fund.
Councilman Beatrice?
It's been said that this ordinance does not address economic development or the park. And since it doesn't, we shouldn't be approving this. But that's what we're here today to do. We're here to take this ordinance, which does only addresses revolving loans, and change this ordinance so that it is allowed to be used for these other two purposes. So Councilwoman Lieb hit the nail on the head. It's not okay to use the revolving fund for these other two things now, but if we change this ordinance, then it's perfectly okay to do that. So that's what we're asked to do today. And that's why I think it's okay to do that, because the committee said to do it, the mayor said to do it, our liaison said to do it. it makes sense to them and it should make sense to us. And if we vote yes to this, or if we allow it to go to third reading and vote yes on this, then we have allowed them to do what we've asked them to do all along. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilman Prisbalinski.
Madam President, I thought I made a
If-
motion
If
to
you would
approve.
restate that, please. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I am making, well, my point is I made the motion to approve, but then some other council members got done with their comments. So are all the council members done with the comments that they had?
Councilman Prisbalinski, they are done. And that was because even when you said that, there was still lights on.
I know,
before I could get to them.
everybody's done now. Is everybody done now?
They are.
Okay, so then I already made my motion, so I'm looking for a second on that motion.
Support.
Yeah,
Was your motion was to move to third tonight?
no, my motion, okay, it got a little confusing there, is to move it on for third reading.
Well, you don't have to make a motion.
need a motion for that.
That's her responsibility.
We don't need a motion to just go.
Well,
to
you
third
gotta
reading.
get it approved.
Yeah, he has to make a motion.
They have third reading tonight. This is second reading.
That you do have to make
Yeah.
a
So I'm
request.
making a motion for third reading this evening.
I'll support that.
Madam Clerk on the vote, please.
Mr. Nelson,
No.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Yes.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Hey,
Did you say nay or yay?
nay.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Nay.
Ms. Moldenar.
Nay.
We have 4 in favor and 4 opposed.
Bring it back for third reading. So.
Yeah.
Don't I have to break the tie? You said 4 and 4?
I think that if you're talking about a motion to suspend procedural rules, it requires a 2/3 anyway. So you don't have a, even
We
with the
don't have it,
tiebreaker, you
yeah.
won't have a 2/3. So the motion to combine readings and pass and consider on third reading tonight is failed. But I think you can still move it to third reading at the next meeting.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's going on the third
The
reading.
motion to have this on third reading failed, so this ordinance will be held over for third reading. Madam Clerk, on our next ordinance on third reading by title only, formal public hearing was held on October 7, 2025, and posted on Gateway. If you could please read that third reading ordinance.
An ordinance on third reading by title only, ordinance or a resolution for appropriation and tax rates, and this is introduced by Ms. Tillman.
This is just our, the standard resolution for the appropriation and taxes that we have to file every year. That has to be turned into DLGF, for when we submit, our annual budget. I would like to open this up for public comment. Are there any public comments on this ordinance?
Good evening, Paul Prespolinski, 1716 Washington Street. On the last meeting, you passed a you passed an amendment to not make amendments on third reading. I understood that, but my question is, have there been any negotiating meetings with the police, fire, and the street department? And I think that if somebody can't answer that, then they can't face reality, because that's part of the responsibility of the Labor Negotiating Committee. And I want to say that if you don't even sit down with them, that's kind of disrespectful. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments on this ordinance? Any other public comments on this ordinance? If there are none, public comments are now closed. Any comments from the council? I have one, and that is the perception of, or to think that any council members or those that is on the negotiation committee didn't negotiate or met with the fire, police, legal team, or the chiefs for that matter. Because had that not, we wouldn't be deriving at this point to go through our annual salaries. Just wanted to make that comment. Next, we will have a request for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Beatry and a second by Councilman Nelson. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatry,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer,
Aye.
and Mr. Nelson.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
And this ordinance has passed. Madam Clerk, our next ordinance on third reading by title only, please.
An ordinance on third reading by title only, an ordinance setting salaries and wages for appointed officials and employees of the city of Michigan City, Indiana for the calendar year 2026. And this is also introduced by Ms. Tillman.
Are there? I have no comments. I will open this up for public comment. Are there any public comments on this ordinance?
Good evening, council. My name is Christopher Zabutis. I live at 161 Concord, and I represent the proud firefighters of Local 475. First, I'd like to thank Mr. Prespolinski for bringing up what he did. And I'm also here to remind the city of its obligations that it's choosing to ignore. Per our contract, we must request an open negotiations by April 1st. We did that. We did that in writing on February 24th. Also, per the contract, the city was then required to schedule the first meeting by April 15th. Never happened. Instead, March 4th, we were asked to wait for the passage of Indiana Senate Bill 1. We understood the importance of that legislation and agreed in good faith to wait. Legislative session has since passed. The bill passed months ago, and 8 months later, still no meeting has been scheduled. July 9th, I submitted a letter to the clerk, the two lovely ladies here. Thank you, Gail and Amanda. July 9th, I submitted a letter that should be read at the July 15th meeting. No response. August 14th, I submitted another letter that was read on August 19th meeting, and on September 2nd, your attorney finally replied. Our proposal to your attorney was submitted on September 18th, and that same evening, your attorney said he'd be in touch to set meeting dates. I followed up on October 9th, and that same day, I was told by your attorney to expect a response the next day, October 10th. I received nothing. I followed up again on October 14th, and since then, as I stand before you now, not a single date has been sent, and I have not received a reply. Yet, decisions that are being made that affect our contract tonight with this ordinance, and there has been no talk to the firefighters or most other city union employees. City Ordinance Section 54-64 requires both the city and the bargaining agent to bargain in good faith within 30 days after notice is given. Section 54-68 requires that notice be served at least 120 days before the last day money can be appropriated. The firefighters did that. Section 54-81 states that negotiations shall continue for a period of 60 days. There are 72 days left in the year. I'm no math whiz, but it seems like we're running out of time. We have followed every rule, every timeline, and every request. The city has not and has just decided to do whatever the heck they like. This comes down to basic respect and the process for the law. When city leadership ignores these obligations, it erodes the trust, not just between us, but between the city and all of its residents we have right here. As firefighters, we don't get to ignore a call. We show up every time. And all we're doing is we're asking the city to show up and respect not just us, every city union. Is it in the rules to interrupt? I don't think so. We're tired of politely asking. We're demanding that the city come to the table and bargain in good faith. I love this job. I love this city. I've lived here for 21 years, over half my life at this point. We show up and we want the same respect that we give to the city from you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. It seems like this city council and this mayor's office, this administration is not transparent or forthcoming with negotiating with the citizens and the workers. This has been going on for quite a while. This is not right. We deserve to have city workers receive a fair salary. They, at the very minimum, they should at least be able to have their voice heard. When you don't allow them to speak and you make a decision for them, which this administration has been doing for the longest, it looks real bad. Look like you're trying to cover up something, or you're just saying they're not that important. And then you're saying that we as the people, the citizens who vote for you, we're not important. This has to change. I just always had the philosophy that when you don't like the way you're being treated, you change the way you vote. One day, our people are going to wake up and we're going to make a change. And that change is coming. And we're going to see how you look on the other end when you're sitting in the audience and some of us are sitting up there doing the job of the people, which we should be doing from the beginning. I'm sick and tired of the workers of the city being treated like they don't even exist. The street department, refuge, vector control. That was my first job I ever had in my life, working for vector control. You have not, this city seems to think that you guys are our city. You're not. These workers makes our city. They what makes our city beautiful. They take care of the safety in the city, and they have to deal with a lot of BS. And now they come in here to get treated fair, and you won't treat them fair. But I will say this to the unions. I say this, be careful who you endorse, because these people that you endorsed last time, they never did anything for workers, and they don't have respect for unions. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? Are there any other public comments? This is the last call for public comments. Public comments are now closed. Comments from the council. Councilman Dabney?
Am I able to address this, or do I need to wait to comments from the council? So I can address it now? Okay. All right. Regarding the contracts, and I want the police and fire both to hear what I'm saying right now. As you all know, we talked about the bill that was being passed with the state and how that was going to hamper us financially. So what happened is you guys asked for you did your time and asked for negotiations and everything like that, whatever the date was that you had. But we're in a situation where if we negotiate and we come up and say we're going to pay you, just say we agreed to pay you 6%. But then we come along, but our budget doesn't allow us at the end to pay you 6%. What do we do? No. Hold on now. Hold on.
Excuse me.
No,
We'll
no,
be on first.
No.
You leave the council chambers.
No, hold on.
Me.
All right, hold on.
Have a good evening.
So here we go. So what we've done, we asked for your proposals to us. We got it, right? And then we actually looked over those as a committee, and we sent those back to both the police and fire. Have anybody responded to what we sent you guys?
Yes, we did.
Haven't gotten anything back to the.
You have not gotten anything from our attorney.
October 14th, and I'm sorry, October 9th, he said, you'll hear from me October 10th. I emailed him again on October 14th, asking for an update. I haven't heard anything.
Wait.
I can show you the emails on my phone.
Okay. All right. So we have not received back, your responses to what we sent or what we're going to send or send. All right. Yep.
If I had received something.
Okay. And so now what we're doing, and here is, I know the date, but we're looking to see if you guys are available on the.
Set a date.
No.
Madam Chairman.
Let me finish it.
Point of order.
It's okay. I'm pulling out the calendar. Hold on, Don.
No, wait.
Wait,
As a committee member, this
Councilman
discussion shouldn't be
Belinsky.
going on in a public setting.
Belinsky, you are correct, but
Right.
it has
But
to
I-
be acknowledged.
Right.
excuse me, I am speaking.
Well, you interrupted me, so we're even now. Go ahead.
Any other outbursts, please note you will be asked to be removed from the council chambers. From anyone. And again, it's not a back and forth conversation. Councilman Dabney is trying to explain what the process has been to our knowledge. That information, what we discussed, has been sent out. But because this is part of negotiations, you all know that we cannot disclose or discuss anything about what was said or what was sent because of the negotiations.
Right.
Stan, but you want the dates as far as when are we going to meet?
Right.
To our knowledge, we hadn't received a reply back, as Councilman Dabney has stated. To our understanding, we sent what needed to have been sent to both departments. We had not received anything back. Now, based off of what you're conveying to us right now, as far as the dates and things of that, so now Councilman Dabney is saying, well, let's get this date.
No.
Or correct me if I'm wrong.
No. We agreed on the date amongst us with the attorneys that both of them can make it. And we're going to present to both of you the 30th. And we're going to give an hour. One is going to be at 3:30. One is going to be at 4:30 on the 30th. And we wanted to make sure that you guys are able to make that. I got this. This was something that we got today. So I didn't come here to discuss this tonight. Yeah, this was text messages that came back and forth with us today. So I lined up the attorneys, and I'm lining up our other committee members to see if we can make it on the 30th. And one is going to be scheduled for 3:30. The other is going to be scheduled for 4:30. No. I said what we had, our reply to you and your proposals were sent. To our knowledge, everything was sent. Our attorneys would have sent that. Okay, but
Text messages today.
no, to set a date. It was
Saying he said a date with his committee. But you're
Yeah.
voting on salaries.
we're voting on salaries with the rest of the city. And this is the same way but this is the same way it went last year. No, we set the uh-huh.
Before this vote happened, yes, you did. I'm a part of negotiation for the last 5 years.
Mhm.
You said there's no money, there's a $1,200 bonus for every city employee.
Right. We did. That's what we did.
Tonight, that you're voting on salaries, you haven't talked to us once. There's been no talk about money, anything in our contract.
Our first proposal, you didn't see our proposal, what came out to you guys. Okay. All right.
So-
It was sent.
No. With
It
that
was-
being said,
It was sent.
but budget, well, here's the thing. Before the 30th. I can't say we can table this, but budget has to be turned in by the 31st. We have to have this, let me hear me out. This has to be done by the 31st. But the thing about that is, until we have that meeting, we don't know. Are we going to be able to do that within that window? Because if not, I'm speaking, excuse me, I'm talking to Attorney Snow. So, and I'm asking this to say, if we do not have this, or to Controller Maryland, if we don't have this done by the 31st, do that convert us back to our 2025 budget? It'll convert back. If you could, Mayor, Council Controller.
Yeah. So the negotiation is going to be, if they want more money, they're going to.
So included on the salary orders that you are passing does not include police and fire, number one.
Okay.
That's all city employees, with now not including police and fire. Police and fire are on a totally separate salary order that is not being approved today.
Thank you for pointing that out.
You just approved the city budget.
Okay, so are we all clear on that? This will not, or has no impact as of the police or fire, because it is done on a separate salary budget for approval. which this actually happened last year. So this isn't new. So this is being transparent. Everything is in the open. We have nothing to hide or to hold back by not moving this forward. So yes, we will still be able to meet with you, as Councilman Dabney indicated, that will be on October 30th. Could you give the times again, please?
3.
Please email it to me.
Yep.
Time so everybody can hear it. That's fine, but
3:30 and 4:30.
Okay. Okay, so moving forward, we were on council comments. This is on third reading for an ordinance setting salaries and wages for the appointed officials and employees of the city of Michigan City, Indiana for the calendar year of 2026. May I entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Corr, second by Councilman Prisbalinski. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Flora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Nay.
and Mr. Preselinski.
Aye.
We have 7 in favor and 1 opposed.
Madam Clerk, our next ordinance on third reading, please.
An ordinance on third reading by title only, an ordinance setting the annual salary for the mayor. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman.
Just a reminder in regards to the ordinance setting the annual salary for the mayor. As indicated, the mayor of the city of Michigan City shall be paid an annual salary of $93,280. That's $3,587.69 biweekly from the general fund beginning January 1st of 2026. The general fund is to be reimbursed $10,000 from the sanitary district operating fund and $10,000 from the Department of Water Works to offset the salary of the mayor. Also, it indicates whereas the mayor has requested that her annual salary for 2026 remain the same from 2025, and the Common Council now desires to establish the salary for the mayor for 2026. I would like to open this up for public comments. Are there any public comments on this ordinance? Any public comments on this ordinance? This is last call. Are there any public comments on this ordinance? If public comments are now closed. Any comments from the council?
Motion to
Councilman-
approve.
We have a motion by Councilman
Support.
Prisbalinski and a second by Councilman Beatrice. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Beatrice.
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Flora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson, Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Preselinski,
Aye.
and Ms. Tillman.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
And this ordinance has passed. Madam Clerk, on our next ordinance on third reading by title only, please.
An ordinance on third reading by title only, the ordinance setting the annual salary for the city clerk. And this is also introduced by Ms. Tillman.
As sponsor, just one of the things that I want to point out in regards to this ordinance where it indicates whereas the city clerk has declined a 2% increase from her 2025 salary, and the Common Council now desires to establish the salary of the city clerk for 2026 at the same rate as 2025. Section 1, the city clerk of the Michigan City shall be paid an annual salary of $76,252.73 from the general fund beginning January 1st, 2026. The general fund is to be reimbursed $1,000 from the sanitary district operating fund to offset the salary of the city clerk. I would like to open this up for public comment on this ordinance. Are there any public comments on this ordinance? Nancy.
Paul Prespolinski, 1716 Washington Street. I would like to say that I think that our clerk is probably one of the best assets the city has, because the clerk's main job is the keeper of the records. And that is all important documents and not that little commotion that's been created under this administration. But I gotta say that I think that we're getting a deal at $76,252. And where did the heck did they come up 73 cents? Oh, thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comments on this ordinance? This is last call for public comments on this ordinance. Public comments are now closed. Comments from the council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Prisbalinski, second by Dr. Cora. Madam Clerk on the vote, please.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora.
Aye.
Ms. Lee. Aye. Ms. Moldenauer.
Aye.
Mr. Nelson.
Nay.
Mr. Preselinski.
Aye.
Ms. Tillman.
Aye.
And Mr. Beatrice.
Aye.
We have 7 in favor and 1 opposed.
And this ordinance also has passed. Madam Clerk, on our next ordinance on third reading, please by title only.
An ordinance on third reading by title only. An ordinance setting the annual salary for the common council members. And this is also introduced by Ms. Tillman.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I would just like to point out where it does state in this ordinance, whereas the Common Council now desires to set their annual compensation for 2026 at the same rate as 2025. Section 1, each member of the Common Council of the City of Michigan City shall be paid an annual salary of $15,426.16 from the general fund beginning January 1st, 2026. I would like to take this time to open this up for public comments. Are there any public comments on this ordinance? Are there any public comments on this ordinance? This will be last call. Are there any public comments on this ordinance? There are none. Public comments are now closed. Comments from the council?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Let's turn mine on. I had it on.
Had a comment.
Got a motion on it. Is it?
Yeah, it's important.
I can't, it's gonna be a point of order. You just flipped it on. I'm sorry.
We need to start asking people before we make a motion. If anybody has any comments, we need to get in the habit of doing it as.
Well, here's the thing. First and foremost, with all due respect, first and foremost, unless you are acknowledged to speak, we just don't jump out there until there is an actual request for a motion. We just don't give the motion. That is actually the proper protocol. Correct me if I'm wrong, Attorney Snow. So it's a motion. Technically, once there is a motion, I did not, and you flipped it. So there is a motion on the table, because if not, then it's going to be a point of order. There's a motion by Councilman Prisbalinski and a second by, was that you, Mr. Beatrice? Who was the second? A support by Councilman Dabney. Madam Clerk on the vote, please.
Dr. Cora.
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer.
Aye.
Mr. Nelson.
Aye.
Mr. Preselinski.
Aye.
Ms. Tillman.
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice.
Aye.
And Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
And this ordinance has passed. Madam Clerk, do we have any new business?
There's no new business. And
Madam
there's
Clerk,
no unfinished business.
and do we have any unfinished business?
There's no unfinished business.
There are not, excuse me, there's been a request before we hit comments from public comments. I've been requested to ask if we can just take a 3-minute recess. For all those in favor from the council, aye. You have 3 minutes, please. I think we're all ready to go. If we can start back, we finished off on our agenda with comments. Yes. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, starting off, we are now on the public comments. When you come up, please state your name and your address, and public comments are 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Monica O'Donnell. I own North Star Properties at 525 Franklin Street. I was raised to be part of a solution, and that's why I'm here tonight. I showed up last week when invited to a roundtable by the mayor. Councilman Przybylski showed up, and I'm here again because I believe that problems this significant can't be solved without full participation. My goal isn't to add noise, it's to help build a path forward. I had someone defecate on my business porch on Columbus Day morning. That's why I'm here. Downtown safety, cleanliness, and vitality affect everyone who lives here, works here, or visits here. I'll be submitting a formal letter for the record to the city attorney and city clerk for review and prepare a downtown safety ordinance to be looked at and reviewed within 30 days. The goal is to create a clear enforceable standard that let the city address conduct that undermines safety and public access while maintaining compassion and respect for individual rights. A loitering plus approach, which would focus on behavior, not status, covering acts such as blocking business entrances, refusing to leave private property after notices, or creating unsafe and unsanitary conditions. It's consistent with Indiana law and gives law enforcement a balanced constitutional framework for a response. Beyond legislation, I support consistent foot patrols downtown. A visible, approachable police presence discourages disorder and restores confidence for both residents and visitors. I also encourage forming a downtown safety and business task force, including council members, law enforcement, legal staff, business leaders, and a social service partner, and align enforcement with outreach and long-term solutions. Michigan City's downtown is the heart of our community. And small businesses are the lifeblood that keeps it beating. We're not only employers and storefronts, we're the fundraisers for the schools and nonprofits, we're volunteers, and we're advocates for the events that happen downtown, and we support our neighbors in need. We give back because we believe in the city. I have deep compassion for the homeless in our community. I truly do. Many of us have already worked quietly behind the scenes to connect people with help, but compassion can't override chaos. A thriving, inclusive downtown depends on both empathy and accountability. My message tonight is about being collaborative, not confrontational. And I'm asking that we continue to work together, business owners, city officials, and residents alike, to ensure that downtown Michigan City reflects the pride, safety, and spirit of possibility that we all believe in. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Ernie Hallahan, 302 Gladys Street. In regard to the paving, I mentioned it earlier, but they stopped awful quick. And from what I understand, they run out of money. But Broadway's in your district. I mentioned Broadway before they even started that new park about getting it paved, but it never did. It's got a manhole cover right at the alley before Gladys Street. And they come and patch it numerous times through the year because it sinks down real bad. But I'm very disappointed that it didn't get to that one. They got to Warnke Road. I was glad for that. I reported that one. But I'm disappointed with the city itself. I mean, at 212 and Springman, I go out there quite often. There was a couch and other furniture laying there at the corner. Well, the city picked that up. And I believe it was the following week, there was a pile of mattresses and all kinds of stuff there. So somebody's consistently dumping there. And the city needs to get to the bottom of that. They don't want to put it out by their house because the city can't pick it up no more. And it's getting pretty bad about dumping all around anywhere. Going out to Myers, there was a bag of garbage laying out there on the side of the road. You drive around, you'll see it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Adi Haddad, 516 Wabash. And I want to second what Monica was talking about with the businesses, but I also want to encourage you to everyone to remember that there may not be a lot of people who actually reside downtown, but there are a nice hand amount of people that feel unsafe because of what she mentioned and because of just the lack of everyone really being on the same page. There's a multiple amount of times that I've been approached and felt very threatened and unsafe. I did have a storefront on Franklin, and because of COVID, that had to be dissolved. So I went and purchased other land here. I put a lot of effort into this, and I would really appreciate if people would take this serious.
Thank you. Mr. Dunlap?
Good evening, Sal Dunlap, 729 East Michigan Boulevard. Sitting in the back there at the beginning of the session, I looked over and I didn't see any young people. And it really got my attention regarding what are we doing to encourage more involvement on the part of the young folk. Council Rep Molinauer, you were talking about recycling. You've heard me say here that the only communities in this country who are enjoying a successful recycling program are those who have an aggressive recycling educational program in the schools. It's the children who go home and recycle, not necessarily the old folk. And we need to get more involved with that whole effort. There was some garbage on the social media about the mayor. Now, I want to be clear as I can. I don't go around trying to blow hot air up my universe. But I want it understood. For where you have some legitimate complaint against the mayor, she's all yours, if you can handle her. But for you people who come up in here and want to take a cheap shot at her, you got to come through me. And I want you to understand that. You're going to find out. Bottom line here is that my desire to contribute to this community is basically focused on encouraging us to have a cleaner environment. If nothing else, we owe our children a decent environment to grow up in, which complements everything that they are supposed to be about and can be about. This salary of only $76,000 for the clerk, I think she deserves $102,000. Thank you for this time.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Amy Bowman. I at 117 Valentine Court. I'm the owner operator of Good News Vintage, located at 613 Franklin Street in the heart of downtown Michigan City. And I would like to comment on your comments, because you're right. Our kids are watching us. Our kids are watching everything that's happening in our downtown when they come shopping with their moms and dads. They're out at school. The Marquette kids are running around. They see everything that I'm seeing every day. They're dealing with everything that I'm dealing with every day. And most of these people that are still here are dealing with every day because we're business owners in downtown Michigan City. The biggest problem is everyone thinks that, it's a problem with our homeless. It's not a problem with our homeless. It's a problem controlling our lives. And that's all it is, because we can't control who is homeless and who isn't. All we can control is our environment. And when in our environment, we have positive reinforcement. Things just happen to be positive and elevated. When things are crappy and no one's around to help us with the crap that we're dealing with, and I'm saying crap because I'm legit dealing with crap and I don't have the hazmat stuff to deal with it. My landlord doesn't have it. I don't know who has it, but you all have control. We don't. So when you're paying the salaries for the firefighters and the police and the people that keep us safe and the people and the sanitary districts and all of the districts that keep us safe and clean, you also have to remember that they need to be paid correctly so we can utilize their services downtown because we don't see them. We used to back in the day. I've been a business owner for over 10 years now. I've been through 3 administrations, and we did have cops on bikes. We did have cops on foot, and that's control. When people can walk around and say hi, and you feel comfortable, and you aren't scared. That's the goal here. And I think that's the goal with any city. So I don't know what we need to do, but we need to work together and we need to work together fast because for safety. I wasn't going to bring it up, but I'm going to bring it up. I had to call the cops a few weeks ago to come to my alley where I do a lot of my unloading, loading. Regardless, I'm there and I should feel safe there. And there's a homeless man who drinks his beverages in my space. He defecates in my space. He cleans himself with his clothes and then leaves them for me and anyone else. But most recently, I've basically had a rape manifesto left for me and I'm done. So I don't need notes with vulgar messages left for me or for any woman-owned business downtown, which we are a lot of women-owned businesses. So I'm just bringing Monica's issue. I'm bringing it more to light because I don't know if you all think it's as severe as it really is because
Ms. Baum,
you're going to lose a lot of businesses if this continues.
Ms. Bowman, your time.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm Allison Dent. I live in Cool Spring Township and I have an office at 517 Franklin Street. I've really appreciated the two-way street that you guys have converted on Franklin. I think that eventually, and I have noticed that it's helping to draw more traffic to our businesses in the downtown area. However, as a business owner, my hope is that you'll have short and long-term plans in place to clean up our downtown. We're all aware of the uptick in crime and shootings, but I'm not sure officials are aware of the blatant disregard and human indecency taking place in front of our businesses. I'm a mortgage lender, so by design, most of my business can be handled through email and over the phone. However, I do keep an office front here to meet with older clients that aren't technology capable and for other clients that would like to meet me in person. I unfortunately have to keep the door to my office locked at all times as there is just me and one other woman-owned office that occupy that space. So when clients do come, I have to ask them to call upon arrival so that I can meet them out front and walk them back into my locked office. The reason, did somebody say something? Sorry. The reason for this is I've had unwanted guests walk into my office looking to use the bathroom or just hang out, maybe to warm up, maybe to sit down. I'm really not sure. But it's pretty uncomfortable for me to have to ask them to leave, especially if I am the only person in that office and I'm a woman. One day this summer, we had people sleeping on the furniture behind our space at Vita Del Lago. When I called the police department, I was told since Vita Del Lago owns that furniture that they had to call the police department to have the people removed. come on, we're two women in this office just trying to conduct business in your city, and we're not going to walk out and ask drug sick people to ask them to leave. We don't feel safe as we aren't sure what frame of mind they're in, and it could be dangerous. And I know they were drug sick because we did end up going out there and they told me they were. But my point is, we shouldn't have to do this. With the things happening in the disrespect of our citizens for others here, I have clients that don't feel safe coming to my office at 517 Franklin and would rather drive to my Valpo location until I offer to just come to their house to pick up their documents anyway. I've been considering closing my office here and just operating out of my Valpo location. But more importantly, I want to see Michigan City continue to grow and succeed. There are many women-owned businesses along Franklin, and most of them have had similar experiences with vagrants walking into their offices and making these women uncomfortable and scared. How long do we need to continue this nonsense before everyone leaves, or worse, something bad happens to someone? I'm here tonight because my daughter is only 6 and I want to leave her future here better than how I found it. I also want to help make sure that the people we hope occupy our proposed development stay. Because at the rate our city's going, it won't take long for them to sell and move away, causing depreciation and vacant buildings once they realize the city has some pretty dirty citizens that can't take care of our public and private spaces. And please know, I realize this is a sad and sensitive situation, but we can't keep acting like it isn't a problem. I'm willing to jump in when and where I can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jesse Cundiff, 731 Franklin Street. I've had a business in the Uptown for 12 years, and for 12 years I've had to deal with the homeless issues and the feces and the urine on my doorstep, to the point I had to have a hose bib put in so I can hose the front of my storefront down. Talking about the ladies and the safety, people don't come to Michigan City anymore because they don't feel safe coming to the downtown because of the homeless, the panhandling, the drugs, and the shootings. This has been the slowest year for my business ever. And if it continues this way, I may not be here anymore. And for the ladies with their safety issues, I feel for them. I've been locked in my store and threatened to be raped. And I'm a man. I can only feel how these ladies by themselves are, and I called the police. There's nothing they could do. All they can do is start trespassing people, because unless they see it happen or something worse happens, there's nothing they can do. Their hands are tied. They said, go to the city, try to get some city ordinances so they can enforce it. We had a homeless lady living down there, and the police couldn't do anything. So the city started sending the code enforcement out to try and deal with it. And their hands were tied. What are they going to do? There's somebody living in their car, and how do you make them go? So they move their car to another space. So 3 days later, they tag the car. She moves it to another space. These people don't leave, and they're threatening. They're violent. They come in and they steal. They throw up all over. They use drugs openly, and it's just not a safe place anymore.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Tommy Kolovic from 1316 Ohio Street. Once upon a time here in Michigan City, Indiana, there once lived a man by the name of Bear Falls. And Bear Falls always used to say, if you step on my toes, I's gotta scream. So I want to respond to the report that Keila Ward gave about the Michigan City Promise Scholarship earlier. If you have a student that has graduated from either Michigan City Marquette High School or Michigan City High School as a member of the prestigious National Honor Society, regardless of residency status, they should be able to qualify to receive and be a recipient of the Michigan City Promise Scholarship. It is my goal in life, before I die, that one of my students in my family will become a recipient of the Michigan City Promise Scholarship. Secondly, I want to go back and review the Indiana Safe Building Law. This refers to the fire we had last week at the Christie's Motel and the Ton and Blank owned former J.C. Penney store. This is Indiana Code 36-7-9-4.5, local government. In Indiana, especially in urban areas, there exists a large number of unoccupied structures that are not maintained and constitute a hazard to public health, safety, and welfare. Vacant structures have become dilapidated because the structures are not maintained and repaired by the owners or the persons who are in control of the structures. Vacant structures attract children, become harborage for vermin, serve as temporary abodes for vagrants and criminals, and are likely to be damaged by vandals and set ablaze by arsonists. Unkept grounds surrounding vacant structures invite dumping of garbage, trash, and other debris. Many vacant structures are situated on narrow city lots and in close proximity to neighboring structures, thereby increasing the risk of conflagration and the spread of insect and rodent infestation. Vacant deteriorated structures contribute to blight, a decrease in property values, and discourage neighbors from making improvements to their properties. Structures that remain boarded up for an extended period of time also exert a blighting influence and contribute to the decline of the neighborhood, decreasing the property values, discouraging persons from moving into the neighborhood, and encouraging persons to move out of the neighborhood. Vacant structures often contribute to deteriorate to the point that of the structure is required to be decrease in available housing in a community and further contributing to the decline of the neighborhood. The blighting influence of vacant deteriorated structures adversely affect the tax revenues of local government. The General Assembly finds that vacant deteriorated structures create a serious and substantial problem in urban areas and are public nuisances. In recognition of the problems created in a community by vacant structures, the General Assembly finds that vigorous and disciplined action should be taken to ensure proper maintenance and repair of vacant structures and encourage local government bodies to adopt maintenance and repair standards appropriate for the community in accordance with this chapter and other statutes. I think when all these recent things that have been happening, we really need to embed that statute, that's law, into our brain housings.
Thank you, Mr. Kalavic.
Am I done?
Yes, sir.
Well, go Wolves, beat Velpo on Halloween night and win the sectional next week. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Corbin Wagner, and I do live in the downtown. I live at 411 Franklin Street, and have been happy to reside there. I own Darling. I've been there for 16 years. While I've seen amazing things happen on our street, we could be here every month and the same thing happens. Half of you are bored up there. You're tired of hearing us talk. It's the same message. I am down 50% this year. I am hanging on by a thread. We've never seen a police officer, and now I understand why. We've never seen a police officer. No one comes to help. It's just, I feel like we're starting to give up because clearly you have. You got to help us. Somebody's got to stand up and fight for the people on this important street before we all just give in. And then what happens? We're so busy giving away grants and funds and trying to bring new businesses here, you forgot about us. You forgot about us.
Allow her to speak.
I'm begging at this point. This is my livelihood. I don't get the choice whether I get to retire. I'm 66. I need to work. I just want some help. We just seriously need some help. And you know what? We waited till the very end. Look who's here 3 hours later. We are.
So Renee Fennell, 728 Franklin Street, also a business owner. We actually have, my husband and I have several, excuse me.
Speak up, Bob. It's fine.
It's hard. This is really a plea of help from all of these business owners. I have best friends that sit here, and I see other friends and acquaintances, and the stories that we really hear and endure on a daily is just gut-wrenching. It is gut-wrenching to see all the individuals that need help on the street. And there is so much that we all do. Like Monica said, we fundraise, we give back, we volunteer. There is really so much that we do. I just want to know, I have a brother who works for one of the organizations, brother-in-law who works for one of the organizations. The problem is we just don't, there's an unplug and a disconnect here that we have to understand. There are these different organizations, but since these different organizations are here, you know, there's been so many for years. We've talked to the different organizations and, you know, the homeless organizations and everything. Pardon me, I'm at a little bit of a loss right now. We just don't see any gain from these organizations right now. Are there stats? What is happening? Because from our end, we only see it getting worse. What can we do? How can we connect? How can we plug in these organizations to where they're working with each other more? You know what I mean? Than just solely on their own. You know, I really don't know what to do. I've been there. I've grown up in this, you know what I mean, in this town when it was still, you know, playing when it was in the plaza, when it was still fountains. My parents have had a business here since the mid-'80s. You know, I really am trying my hardest to continue that legacy, but it's really, really difficult. My husband was born here, you know, to want to continue to raise my children here. What can we do? What can we really, really do? I mean, we are literally, all of us are pleading to ask you what can be done. We don't want this to be another city council meeting to where you're listening to us. We want you to help us. We really, really do. So whatever needs to happen, we don't want to see, you know, policemen for the next week or two. And we get it. I really can understand. And all of you guys sitting there, I don't blame you. And I know in all of your hearts, you want the best for our businesses, for this town, and you're limited on the things we can do. I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming the city. All I'm saying is, like Monica, we all need to come together and figure this out, because this is really a bigger problem than what anybody else really thinks. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hey, Tom Donigan, 205 East 11th Street. At the last city council meeting, I had challenged you to come out to see the blight that's taken hold on Franklin Street between Barker Avenue and 11th Street. Councilman Prisbalinski and Coulter were able to stop by. I hope the rest of you took some time to come out and look around. I hope they told you what they saw. I'll tell you what I saw. Numerous vagrants getting high on drugs all day. I was sitting out there from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Numerous vagrants getting high on drugs all day, prostitution, vagrants harassing customers at gas stations, and to top it all off, an open-air drug market late in the afternoon where the vagrants hung out in the corner and the drug boys rode up and sold them whatever they needed so they could go into the alleys and get their fix. I saw that personally, and so did other people. I had a couple of vagrants come up to me and told me I was ruining it for them. When I asked why, they said, "We have it good here. Nobody messes with us." With that mindset, no wonder they're able to do what they do all day. And why do they think that? Something good came out of the day, though. The lot behind 1806 Franklin Street, where Magro Shoes used to be, was cleaned up the next day. Discarded needles and human waste were among the debris there. It was like something you'd see in the third world country, not Michigan City in 2025. This past weekend, the vacant lot at 1109 Franklin Street was finally cleaned up. No needles there, but plenty of trash and human waste as well. Thanks to Councilman Prisbalinski for keeping in touch and getting those places cleaned up. I hear there's plans in the work to get drugged out vagrants off the street. That's something that should have never been allowed to happen in the first place, and it's at the point where it's out of control, as you've heard tonight. The Supreme Court said vagrants have a right to quietly panhandle, but drugged out vagrants don't have the right to get intoxicated and be high in public. Drugged out vagrants don't have the right to commit prostitution in broad daylight near schools. Drugged out vagrants don't have the right to harass customers of businesses. And drugged out vagrants don't have the right to assemble on a corner and be sold drugs. Let me say this to the mayor and all of you. If you don't know how to fix the problem, get in touch with your colleagues in places that don't have this problem. Find out what they do and implement it here. There's lots of places in Indiana where drugged out vagrants aren't wreaking havoc. Of course, there's lots of places there are. There's one common factor for both. They're city leaders. They either put up with drugged out vagrants or they don't. Which are you? You and the mayor can start by making sure that statutes on the books are enforced. There's plenty in state law if the city doesn't have an ordinance. Here's a couple. Public intoxication, walking in roadways, engaging in prostitution, selling and possessing narcotics. The list goes on. There's absolutely no reason why any area of Michigan City has to look like a disaster area. So when the plan to fix the problem is decided, it has to be a 100% effort and relentlessly enforced. There can't be half measures. You and the mayor, as city leaders, must have the fortitude to resolve the problems facing Michigan City. Residents and business owners are completely fed up, as you've seen. It's their city, and you're their representatives. They have a say in how the problem gets fixed, and they've been excluded from meetings that want to be involved. Michigan City's at a tipping point. You and the mayor can let the blight and destruction on Franklin Street spread to other areas of the city, or you can put a stop to it now. If you can't do that, or you don't want to do that, the answer is simple. Step down. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment?
Good evening, council members. Andy Skiat, Marquis Electric, 203 East Harrison Street, Michigan City. I just wanted to take a minute of your time this evening to introduce you to two special people in my life. With me, we have Susan DeMeo. She's the executive director of the Barker Welfare Foundation. And we have Eileen Matheson. She's the current president of the Barker Welfare Foundation. So they're both in town visiting, touring in the mansion and some of the exciting stuff they've been doing on their property. With the cooperation of the Historic Review Board, they've been great dealing with us and allowing us to grow the property and the footprint of the Barkers in town. Eileen is actually bloodline of the Barker family. And I think it's an honor for me to personally know them, and I know what they've done for Michigan City, and I think it's great, and I just want to take a minute to recognize them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Scott Melantura, Kendall Place. It's a long meeting. I'll try to be brief. I'd like to second what Mr. Paul Prismalixi said as to the value of our clerk. She's fantastic, and she's very important to the city. And you look really nice tonight, too. I've heard that before.
Please, no more outbreaks in the council chambers.
Concerning the roadways, PACER, people need to understand, it's based on both road conditions and traffic counts. So a little used road might be in worse condition than one that gets paved. And the whole point of PACER is to be a neutral arbiter of what roads do get paved, as opposed to favoritism. So it's an engineering thing. I'd also point out the city is not the one creating the garbage and the mess that the city is responsible for cleaning up. That's our neighbors and fellow citizens, I suppose. And on a serious thing, everybody here has very real concerns about Franklin Street and the problems we have there. I would suggest that people come to the police civil service meetings that are held the second Wednesday of every month at the police station at 11 o'clock and voice your concerns to the police directly instead of the council. The council's heard this. The council does need to act on it. We do need to do something about our vagrancy problem. As another speaker said, we can make things less comfortable for people. There are rules on the books that follow civil liberties, civil rights, and we can lessen the problems we have here. And I don't feel I'm wasting anybody's time. I have a right to speak as much as anybody else does. Thank you.
Dominic Yankee, 904 Willow Spring Drive. On October 9th, the Indiana Department of Environmental Management cited Phoenix investors for violations stemming from the uncontaminated soil policy. They excavated soil contaminated with trichloroethylene above the legal limit and hauled it off-site. Exposure to this chemical has been linked to kidney and liver cancer as well as non-Hodgkin lymphoma. I urge you to take initiative to write a resolution repealing the 4 resolutions related to the proposed Project Maze data center, since they violated their commitment to adhere to federal, state, and local standards and ordinances. You should also contact the LaPorte County Health Department, who is already contacted by IDEM to hear their recommendation and to be informed of any possible long-term health impact for those living near the site. There was a worksite injury at 402 Royal Road, the location of the future data center, according to a news article, and the police were called. I urge you to contact the Michigan City Police Department regarding the incident. I encourage you to contact Michigan City Code Enforcement to see if they've issued any violations to Phoenix investors regarding the IDEM violations or cited them for having unsecured roofing materials that flew away in the wind. I respectfully request that City Council require active code enforcement presence during all construction of the data center to ensure compliance with safety and environmental regulations. You should mandate that the data center reimburse the city for that cost so that taxpayers will not be burdened for the cost of monitoring a private business with a history of violations. I value your time and attention to my concerns.
Thank you. This is the last call for public comment. Public comment.
Paul Prespolinski, 1716 Washington Street. Nice to see people from the Barkers family here. And your commitment to our downtown district. Thank you. I would like to say that everything I heard tonight has been happening for a hell of a long time. I came home from a trip to Michigan, found a needle by my front porch. Well, I didn't call nobody because everybody's just going to throw their hands up in the air. But I live about 500 feet from Keys of Hope, okay? And there is a real problem here on why do these people have more rights than me? I've been working for over 55 years. And I can't tell somebody, well, I can now, I found out, I can tell them, get off my front porch. Everything they're saying is absolutely true. It's all the way that it's ridiculous. You need to pass some legislation and absolutely see what you can do. Because I am tired of it. I went up to Michigan on my vacation. I saw none of this. And I went up there with my son and we toured all on the Red Arrow Highway, all the way up to the peninsula. I saw none of this. You want your town to be something. We have a unbelievable asset here. And we are not polishing the jewel. We're letting people take a crap on it. And there's some other things I want to say, but I'll save that for the next meeting. Ms. Tillman, thank you for acknowledging me on my correct interpretation of the council rules. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street, Michigan City. Everyone that walks up to this mic deserves to have the respect from the audience to allow people to speak without being interrupted. Maybe someday that'd be enforced and that'll get changed, but it's sad that that's happening like this. So I just want to, it's very frustrating to see city property being sold to individuals that Clarence Hoss, the mayor, and Skylar wants to come to Michigan City. I'm 58 years old. I live here all my life except 2 years. If I want to bid on some property, I should be able to bid on it as well. All these tax abatements you guys been giving out, I would have came a long time ago, but I've been sick and probably my last time coming out here for a while. But at some point, it has to stop. Stop giving out tax abatements. Just stop. If they want to come here and they want to build here, let them just do all that stuff. Taking TIF funds and giving it and helping people from Illinois build affordable housing for them is not fair to the rest of us who live here. Our neighborhoods are falling apart. The laterals have not been addressed. Stuff that's going on in the sanitation department has not been addressed. We need to start seeing TIF dollars spent on the people who live in the TIF and not outer towners. It needs to stop. My other concern is this. How in the world is this council allowing Jewel Harris to represent them in the mayor's office? I haven't seen this nowhere else. I've looked around. I have not seen it unless it was an extreme emergency. Mr. Harris has the mayor's best interest, not the city. And for all of you up here, I heard Mr. Beatrice say something. You guys represent us, not Angie, not the mayor. The mayor has her own people. She can represent herself. You got the legislator, which is you guys, and then you have the executive branch, which is her. For some reason, you want to keep working for Angie. You need to work for us, we the people. I'm gonna close with this. At some point, looking at 1, 2, 3, and a black mayor, our African-American mayor, however you want to address yourself, when are you going to enforce the hiring ordinance? It hasn't happened yet. Mr. Beatry, Mr. Perspolinski, when you was the president, I remember you guys came together. You met with us over in the EOC room to address some of the issues about these companies coming here and not hiring residents. As of today's date, they still haven't done it. It's good to hear that Ms. Ward is pushing the initiative for bringing back the Indiana plan. As you know, Mr. Nelson, that was one of the things that me and Mr. Pavlak, we try to introduce to the mayor. I'm glad to see after I'm off the board that it's being enforced. It seemed like one of the things that this mayor's office like to do is take people's ideas and then run with it and pretend like it was theirs. This is not my idea. This was something that went on for quite a while and then for some reason, fell off. It fell off the map. I'm glad that somebody's doing something with the Indiana plan, but I want to make sure that every citizen, Dr. Corey, you was also at one of those meetings. I want to make sure that every citizen gets an invite to those meetings, to those sessions. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment. This will be the last public comment after this gentleman speak, and then public comments will be closed.
Hello, Matt Fennell, 621 Pine Street. I too am a human poop picker.
I can't hear you. No, thank you.
Hello. Okay.
Yes.
Matt Fennell, 621 Pine Street. I am also a human poop picker-upper. It's not fun. It's humiliating. It's disgusting. I get it. It's a tricky thing to try and resolve, but somebody's going to try and resolve it above the poop. We have a property, 2714 Franklin, a few doors down from the liquor store. You know, multiple times a year, I got to go throw multiple cans and bottles into the garbage from the homeless. We have some Airbnbs. We've had people cancel their stay because they didn't feel safe. Our cleaner showed up and had a unwelcome surprise of a naked man just hanging out in the backyard. It's ridiculous. You know, something's gotta be done. I also like to say I was a steward for the CWA 4900 for about 10 years. And I commend you for holding off on your pay raise and the mayor. You guys are underpaid for the issues that you have to deal with and the characters that you got to deal with. And, you know, I know you guys put in a lot of time in your work. That being said, you know, I was here for the homeless situation, but what I see with the cops and the fire department, if you guys are just giving them one night to negotiate, shame on you. I mean, I don't know the whole situation, right? Just from what I'm seeing here, you said you're going to have a meeting on the 30th and you have until the 31st to put it forward. You know, typical negotiations are weeks, if not months. So I'm a supporter of you guys in the mayor, but on that issue, I say shame. With that, I received my time.
Thank you. Public comments are closed. We will now convert to council. Are there any council comments? Councilwoman Moldenauer.
Very quickly, this is just what I wanted to say. When we took the vote on the salary increase for the city council, I had planned on declining the increase and did not say anything at the last meeting. Okay. And what happened is, I don't know if anybody saw it, the LaPorte County Herald-Dispatch actually headlined, "City Council Seeks Salary Increase." And I knew that to be incorrect, so I contacted the reporter and I contacted the editor immediately, because based on the vote, that is not what we were trying to do. So they did remove the article from social media, but it went out in hard copy. So anybody that saw that in Michigan City, just know that was a mistake. and I addressed the proper people that could take care of that. I hope that they published an article to rescind that, but I don't know if that's the case or not. And the point that Councilman Coulter was trying to make is we don't really make that much. And if younger people really want to get involved in politics, then he was advocating for an increase so that people could at least pay for babysitting services if they're interested in serving our community. So thank you, Madam President.
Dr. Cora.
I just want to take a moment to thank everyone who came here this evening and expressed their concerns about what's happening on Franklin Street. I have a clinic on Franklin Street, and I have seen what you have gone through. So I have personally experienced that, and it's a tough problem to deal with, and also make sure that we are following the rules and regulations that govern these issues. But we'll definitely convene a meeting, maybe a work session, and work with the mayor and the administration and the police and what we can do that is allowed by the current laws, or if we need to bring up a new ordinance, whatever it takes to address this issue, because my patients have had to deal with this situation, and it is very unpleasant. So I appreciate you coming here. Thank you.
Councilman Prisbalinski.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, everybody that came tonight, express your opinions on the different subjects. First of all, I want to thank Andy Scott in bringing the people from the Barker family here. I just want to tell you, my dad worked for Pullman Standard for many, many years, and it provided a fantastic living for him and raising 7 children. So, yeah. And I remember taking lunch to him when there used to be the grass median on Wabash Street. I think that was the 7th Street gate, and I'd sit out there and eat lunch with him, and then he'd go back to work, and then I'd go back and go back home. But anyway, thank you for coming and all you do for Michigan City. Second of all, and Tom, I'm glad that I had the opportunity, and you called attention to those areas down there on Franklin Street, Green Street, Warren Street, 11th Street, behind the rodeo bar, which we took a walk back there, and the city came and cleaned that up. But, just to tell, and I didn't know what was going on down there, but you got to get out, you got to walk around the neighborhoods and see what's going on. Because what Tom showed me that day, so on the south side of the rodeo bar, if you know where that's at, there was concrete barricades, about 8 of them lined up against the away from the building, but people were sleeping between the concrete barricades and the building. So there was like 5 feet there. There was clothing there, there was garbage there was feces there, all this stuff. And, I just, and then other things that I see on Wabash Street, because I follow that, go up and down that corridor daily. And like the folks in the downtown area are saying, to me, it's getting out of control. We are letting another group of people come into our city. We feel sorry for these folks, but then these folks, and I love to help everybody as much as I can, but we can't be taken advantage of and let people tear our city apart. And to me, that's what I see going on right now. What I saw the other day that Tom showed me was totally embarrassing to the city of Michigan City. Now, if you can take example, so you have this big train station development, right? I don't know, 20 million, 30 million, whatever that development is on the corner of 11th and Franklin. And then a half a block away, you got this going on where people are sleeping at night on the sidewalk, sleeping behind concrete barricades. And it's like, it's okay. He's homeless. It's okay. Let him lay there. No, I go to other communities, Fishers, Indiana. It's a whole different world. But, you got to have standards. I don't think we have those standards, and we don't uphold those standards like we should right now. And I'm going to make my effort with the downtown folks is I'm going to get a hold of Councilman Coulter and have a workshop with the business people down there on Franklin Street and see what we can get done to get this moving forward and cleaned up. So, and the last thing, on a good note, the Michigan City boys football team appreciated the taco supper that the Michigan City Council provided for the football team. That would have been 2 Thursdays ago. Yeah, when they played LaPorte. Every Thursday, there's an organization that provides the supper for the football team. So that was our supper. So yeah, they were all very thankful for that. So thank you, city council members. And they won. So that's what really counts.
Right.
Them tacos got them going. Yeah, yeah.
Councilman Dabney?
Yeah, just wanted to say it was a very interesting meeting tonight. And what you stated at the microphone, I'd like to talk to you in the hallway. Yeah. But just to be able to explain the budget process and how it all works. I'm gonna try to get this wrapped up in 3 minutes. So the last couple of years, last year, this year, we've been under some financial headwinds, some from the state, some from things that we've discovered regarding riverboat reserves that had been spent and things of that sort. So what has happened with and they follow the rules of requesting negotiations and things of that sort. So I can understand their frustration, but they wanted us to come out to the negotiations early before we set the rest of the budget. And the question I asked to them when they all exploded, and I understand, like I said, I understand their frustration, but if we negotiate ahead of time before the budget is set, and let's just say that our labor negotiations committee says, okay, we're going to give you a 6% raise. Then when the dollars come in from the state and from the county and what we have coming in says we can only afford a 2% raise, they are not going to give that money back to meet the 2% raise. So what we have to do is wait in order for us to see the numbers so we can negotiate with real numbers. We cannot negotiate based on estimates of that sort, or we could get caught in a real bind where now we're looking because we signed a contract with them, but the city workers don't have contracts. So now we'd have to find ways to take from other departments, from other people to try to make something we committed to ahead of time. So the negotiations are going to happen. And if they did not get what I thought they got, then I will take the blame for that and jump on the attorney that was supposed to send that out. And we'll have a discussion about it. Maybe there was domestic communication with me and him, but we cannot jump ahead of that and go ahead and negotiate salary or whatever it may be, extra days off and things of that sort that would affect us financially without us knowing the numbers. So the negotiations are going to happen. We are going to work to figure these things out. I just thought it was very interesting because we went through the exact same process last year. And I was actually a little surprised to see how that went down. But like I said, I do understand their frustration that they want to know where they stand going forward. And we have time to get that done by the end of the year. So I don't know if some of them went home to watch the rest of this because they knew I would comment about it. But in the end, we'll be fine because we're going to have to work this out. And I see myself as protecting the city in that we cannot negotiate to say you can get, like I said, a certain raise or a certain whatever it may be when the budget comes back and all the true numbers come back and it does not fit into the budget. Because that would be a contract, like I said, and the only way for us to fit under that number would be, well, we need to take it from the street department. Well, we need to run out here and take it from refuse and these things. And we don't want to do that. So we're working with real numbers now when we go to negotiate. It'll all get worked out. So I hope some of them are watching, but we'll get it straightened out.
Are there any other comments from the council? If there are none, I just have one reminder. The next City Mayor Town Hall will be on October 30th, I believe 5 p.m. And that will be located at the Michigan City Fire Training Department on Michigan Boulevard. If there are no other comments from the council, may I entertain a motion to adjourn? Have a good evening.